downfall, you don't even know his name. Silk tongue, steel trap, every word a blade. The sweet talk, you're right into your grave. Call deadly, A-L-E-S-S-I. Just weapon pays the decree. Sweet word, sharp turn, now you're down on the floor. Brain buster hits and you ain't getting up no more. Call deadly, A-L-E-S-S-I. Logic's his weapon, pain's the decree. Sweet word, sharp turn, now you're down on the floor. Brain buster hits and you ain't getting up no more. He don't yell, he persuades. He don't fight, he invades. Step in the ring and you'll understand. This ain't brawn, this is chess, play my hand. Call deadly, A-L-E-S-S-I. I'm logic like TNT. He'll outthink, out of the making regret. One brain buster later and you're losing that bet.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to How Many Ways Can You Not Answer a Question?
I'll take 17. You asked me a question, but you didn't ask me if I got my makeup on to give Alessi, a boost, because it seemed to help him with headscarf lady. So red lipstick, Alessi, you better pull through, because I actually don't like putting on makeup, so...
Well, you said makeup, but is it really makeup? Or is it paint that you smeared on your face? And because of conventional theories that some point along the way, you changed the name from face paint to makeup. But I agree.
Well, no, see, I didn't use Maybelline, sir, and I feel disrespected that you asked me and misrepresented that I used Maybelline. I only use Sephora. But in answer to your question, yes, I am wearing makeup, but you were wrong.
Glacier Mountain collapsed in Switzerland, burying the village of Blatten. Oh, that's
no.
horrible.
That's awful.
I have to go and see if that hits the Danish newspapers. No. Hasn't hit, but apparently something really big is on fire in Denmark.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. What does it say? A glacier was suspected to break near the Swiss city in multiple days. Wednesday, big amounts of mud and ice tumbled towards the city. A giant piece has broken off a glacier Wednesday night, and ice, mud, and stone has partially buried a Swiss town in the Alps. It was expected, and it was evacuated. One person has been reported missing after the incident. It's covered the river running through the city. It's in the Liechtenstein Valley. It's a city of 300 people, but they can't return most of them. Yeah. So, knock on wood that that one person will be found in good nick.
Does everyone have their emotional support animal who hates them and doesn't want to be held?
I have my squishy.
Loki is like, I hate you, let me go.
I had we used to have a cat like that, Kiki. She was the meanest, baddest cat, and if you wanted to touch her, she would attack you. But if she needed some comfort, she would just come up, and then she would be purring and, oh, so sweet. And when you just started to stroke her, 2 seconds later, she was like, why are you touching me, you asshole? And then she'll wander off. Oh, maybe the guy's holding down the bar. Could be he was at the bar keeping it open. I should have. I'm not a big fan of chicken wings.
Oh, I love chicken wings.
It's just you're just sitting there mushing and nothing. Yeah, I hope Alexis is slowing down a bit. He gets ahead of himself. He gets too emotional or too. I think he's kind of like a fighter who goes. I said it in the early show. He goes into the fight and he's all tensed up because I'm gonna beat this a-hole, and he can't really swing. And then when he just gets knocked a few times in the face, he starts. It's just a fight like every other fight. Let me get loose
Well,
and
and I
get
think he
going.
has to see how Bev is going to react too, because every time they've questioned any witness, Bev's like, "No, I'll let him expand this, that, and the other." So,
They have more leeway now than they had with Trooper Paul. What the hell did I just say? I said a city in Switzerland had been buried under mud. And I said the name of the valley it was situated in. It's a German name. I have an interview to break someone's hopes and dreams in 4 minutes, and then I'll be here on the
oh, poor
1.75
guy,
crew. Well,
person. It's
there's a reason
2025.
why Marissa is my head of talent acquisition on the Broken Baker Media.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that call from her. We need to have a talk. We have a PIP for you, a performance improvement plan.
In Denmark, you have every year you are supposed to have what's called a mouse. Well, the abbreviation is mouse. It means worker development talk, and it's always just. So, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I don't know. Okay, yeah, you're doing your job. You want to go get some 2 days studying something? No, not really. Yeah, don't have any more pay to give you. Well, that's fine. See you next year. See you next year. What about Buffalo? I never talked about Buffalo, but I could talk about Bull Buffalo, which is Tatanka, the greatest Native American wrestler in history. He had a
Oh,
double tomahawk
oh,
chop.
and rest in peace. Oh gosh, I forgot his name, but I have it pulled up.
You are also my director
Uh,
of communication. Jamie is my head of HR.
Rick DeRinger, who did the Real American Hulk Hogan entrance song, he passed away today, or
I
it
am
came
a
on the news.
real American. Fight for the rights of every man. Okay. Fight for your right. That was a great entrance song. That was one of the first really good ones back in the 80s, and then they started working on them. I was
He also wrote Hang On Sloopy, and if anyone can explain what a Sloopy is, because I used to sing Hang On Snoopy.
well, it's your life. Stay safe. Fight for the right. I feel like my rights are going to be oppressed under this new regime. This regime hasn't changed. They've just got new
It's
titles.
the same regime.
We don't
The
change the
regime has
regime, we
not
just
changed,
change.
comrade.
Oh, you can be the director of chicken wings. Keep them away from me.
Oh, yes. Yeah. No, bring them here. Love them, all of them. Just can't handle a lot of spice right now.
RJ, yes, I saw you send me that another trooper has been indicted for what was it? He was indicted for former
Violently
Norfolk
attacking
County
us.
Sheriff's deputy arrested for extortion charges.
Ooh.
A former employee of the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office was arrested by federal office Wednesday morning at his home in Norwood. Thomas Brady, the former assistant deputy superintendent of jail operations, has been indicted on extortion and bribery charges. He is accused of directing maintenance workers for the department to do work at his home for free, including installing a shower head. Come on now. Replacing a water heater, and
That was
repairing a
for his
heating
wife.
system. I understand it. Well, a shower head. I can change the shower head, and I have 10 thumbs. According to that's a Danish thing because that means that you can't use your hands for anything.
I have 10 thumbs, or I have
I,
two
I
left
just
hands,
didn't know if it
or
was a Danism again, where I say something and everyone what?
to be fair, some of them, like the making a mountain out of a chicken feather or something you said.
1 feather into 5 chickens.
I almost got it right.
It's a
According to
mountain
this
into a molehill.
expert, by this expert, I got this completely correct. And how dare you question me, Baker?
According to the criminal complaint, those workers feared if they didn't follow his order, Brady would negatively affect their positions. The Massachusetts State Ethics Commissions investigated last year and found Brady violated the state's conflict of interest law. Thomas Brady was terminated by the office on May 5th. Should have been May 4th. The Norfolk County Sheriff's Office is aware that today's action by the U.S. Attorney's Office and has been working closely with them on this inquiry. And we will continue to do so. The corrections profession is built on honor, integrity, and trust. When there is a betrayal of those principles, we'll all feel it. So, surprise, surprise, another Massachusetts.
It's almost like the whole Norfolk County police system is corrupt. Almost.
But it starts with a basic underlying principle that they are, in fact, integral, and I think that has been proven wrong. I mean, it starts with a base foundational fact, like the Norfolk police are integral and honorful, and I'm going to say facts, not in evidence.
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
Lori says, you are not the father.
By the way, well, I might not have time. If I have enough time at O'Hare, is there some Chicago area food I need to try? Because I tried Philly cheesesteak on the recommendation of Brandon the last time. Not the biggest fan, and he said, "Well, you got the one at the airport. What did you expect, cowboy?"
Yeah, don't get anything at the airport. You're not going to get anything good at the
I was
airport.
about to say you could get a Chicago dog or one of their casserole pizzas.
Pizza casserole.
Dish pizza. Deep dish pizza is what Chicago serves, and I'm not a big fan of it personally. But if you can find a Chicago dog, you should get that Chicago style hot dog. Go for that.
What's in the Chicago style hot dog?
Ooh, if they've got Italian beef anywhere, get that too. Chicago style hot dog. It's just a dog. It's got like pickle relish, tomato, some peppers, probably some onions on it. It's delicious. It's delicious.
I think it has
No
some
ketchup.
pepper. Yeah.
No ketchup. Okay, don't ask for ketchup.
So you paid $47. I actually got mad when I saw the price because it's airport food. I expected to pay a lot for it. And I had a 6-hour layover, so I needed sustenance. But I got the price, and because you are weird people, you put your taxes on after you pay it. So you don't know really what you're going to pay. And then there was an 8% sugar tax.
Sugar tax?
On top of the sales tax.
What in the crazy?
I got mad because I'm not going to use the healthcare system in Philadelphia. So why am I paying a sugar tax, which is technically international waters for me because I left America in Knoxville. I checked in to fly abroad.
Despite the look on my face, how dare you claim that Detroit style pizza is an actual style of pizza? It is not. I abolish anything to the contrary. Detroit style pizza is just cut into squares. That's the only difference.
No, but it's
just a
deep
cut.
dish.
No, it's not.
It's got a thicker crust.
That's the silliest thing I've ever heard.
I think this is the first time I've disagreed with you, Valhalla, but we're still friends. Unless we order pizza, then it's Mortal Kombat.
And Andriel, flying. I'm not the biggest. Well, I'm a big fan of flying, except the seats are getting way too small. So now I upgraded to premium economy this time. So hopefully my fat ass can fit in the seat. But my problem is, I have a fat ass, and my shoulders is quite a little bit away from my face as well. And you sit like shit in economy. I don't like taking off, and I don't like landing. Flying, I have no problem with. I find it enjoyable, and I just I take my monitors because you have that pressure system building, and because these are in-ears, they kind of take so it doesn't hurt as much because I have problems regulating the pressure in my inner
I
ear.
have to get some of those.
I love these.
Oh God, the fee mullet. No, what did you do, little? Oh dear
Oh
Lord.
yeah, that she looks.
Oh.
Sorry, that it's not against her because I know she's a wonderful woman, but she
Yes,
amazing.
yes.
she looks
haircut,
very
though.
trash.
And it looks like Miley Cyrus on a bad day.
I got these. It's called RX, and they have different models, and
Oh,
I
awesome.
really like them because you can have them
Let
in
me write
here
that on my
all.
not forget pad.
Oh, I forgot to put it on
had left
audio.
off talking about some examples of Newton's second law and the application of it in the parlance of force equals mass times acceleration. And I now want to continue on with that discussion. It is correct that you can conduct a force analysis on any part of the body, correct?
I mean, it's more difficult on internal with live people. Like if you wanted like my appendix, I really necessarily couldn't.
Let's talk about the musculoskeletal system, the outside bones. You can conduct a force analysis
So your
on any
bones are on
bone.
the inside.
Sir, if I could finish my question, please.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
You can conduct a force analysis.
And on Wednesday we do arms because if you want a thick mommy named Maria taking your chorizo where she makes diarrhea, your arms better be effing swole.
Chorizo is delicious.
I just said that live on YouTube.
On any bone in the body, correct?
More or less.
I'm 100% the same when flying big A's and all. Yeah, it's. I hope the upgrade will help me this time because it's gonna be 25 hours this time. Last time I was 28 hours, so I need my rest.
Yes.
So the force analysis I use as a synonym with Newton's second law is not exclusive to the head, correct? You can do it on other bones in the body, correct?
Correct.
But are they inside?
On direct
Why do you want to
examination, your direct examination here, you did not present a force calculation representing what you allege to be contact between the vehicle and Mr. O'Keefe's right arm, did you?
Correct.
And nowhere in your report do you present a force calculation for Mr. O'Keefe's right arm, do you?
Correct. We didn't have enough information to do it.
We're going to get to that.
Okay.
Now, given that you stated that, quote, determining the effects of physical forces on the human anatomy, end quote, is the job of a biomechanical engineer, you must have conducted several force calculations related to accidents involving humans in your career, correct?
Hundreds.
Hundreds. Now, you didn't present a force calculation in your materials, as you've stated, on direct with regard to the arm, and I'll include in the right arm going from the shoulder all the way to the tip of the hand, okay? So that's my definition of a right arm. You didn't present any force calculation on that part of the body of Mr. O'Keefe, did you?
Correct.
Assume, and we're going to apply Newton's second law. Assume Mr. O'Keefe's hand weighed 7 pounds. So that's the M in the F equals MA.
That's not a good assumption.
Well, what number would you like to apply for an M for the hand of Mr. O'Keefe? I'll take any number you got,
Just the hand?
just the hand.
Oh, the whole arm of Mr. O'Keefe weighs approximately 12 pounds.
Okay, fair enough. So the whole arm, is from the shoulder down to the tip of the fingers, is about 12 pounds, right?
Correct.
Okay. So assume that the Lexus SUV was traveling at 20 miles an hour. All right? Under your theory going backwards,
It's too low.
20 miles an hour. And the third variable I'd like to give you is to assume an impact window of 10 milliseconds.
Okay.
Oh,
Can you
cool.
calculate the G's of force from that data?
What do I do for that long of a flight? I sleep and I watch movies. But I don't want to sleep too much because I would rather go to bed and then get some sleep and get up and then fight jet lag that way. When I'm flying home, I'm sleeping or trying to sleep. Last time I slept an hour and a half. I was beat.
You need more information.
Well, let me ask you this. What more information would you need?
So we talked about the glancing impact.
I'm talking about a force calculation of an impact, not as to whether it's glancing or not.
So you want a direct head-on impact in the arm, not a glancing hit to where the Lexus comes
Exactly
in,
what he just said.
hits the arm, and they continue off together?
I'd like to start with that, but just so we can hopefully expedite it for the jury.
Okay.
I'm going to want to get to what you have depicted in your diagram of having holding the arm out. And that's not a glancing impact. Is that, sir, with the right arm in parallel with the back of the Lexus?
Yes, it is. So really I'm sorry, let me finish, please. What you're concerned about is where the center of mass is. With the center of mass out towards the corner of the car, that becomes a glancing contact. So you don't have a center of mass contact, you have a glancing contact.
Okay, fair enough. Well, so let's start the first force calculation.
I need my calculator.
I'm going to let him use his calculator.
Sure.
Okay,
I'm going to make him do it in his head.
go ahead.
So let's take a scenario where it's a center of impact,
Center of mass.
center of mass impact, right?
Oh,
Okay,
Impact to the right arm.
okay,
Let's start with that one.
okay. And you want me to use like a 10 millisecond?
Yeah, be conservative. Yeah, let's use a 10 millisecond for
Okay.
the
Just to
impact
make
window.
the math easy. I literally just told him that O'Hare is huge in private jet. It's a giant airport.
I've been to O'Hare when I flew to America the first time, and my problem is I have an hour 20 minutes from touchdown to takeoff, and I have to get through immigrations. It's going to be close.
Yeah.
Last time it took me, I think, 40 minutes to get through immigration.
Really?
Yeah, they had 2 booths open and 4 planes arriving at the same time. That's 1,200 people.
Man, just walk around it. No big deal.
Alessi seems more
Yeah.
calm and centered. I think he needed that break.
Yeah, I think he's one of those, as I said, he needs to be punched in the face to relax a bit. It's going to be worse. I have 40 minutes in Helsinki.
Agreed.
Well, actually, I talked to some nice guys because I have to check out my baggage in the arriving airport and then check it in again to get it to my connecting flight. And they were really nice the last time. But I have one thing, because last time I had to say, where do I spend the first night in America? I don't have to say where I'm going other than that. But I haven't had, normally that will say that at your airplane, the plane company, travel company, that you have to do this, fill this out. I haven't said it this time, so hopefully, well, I'm going to bring the address in my pocket.
Anyone knows math? How the hell long does this calculation take? I mean, isn't this his bread and butter?
It's acceleration. That's it's force versus mass, force times mass. So
Well,
it's
I get it, Baker, but this is also a formula he uses every day. In theory.
yeah. I don't get why.
he said he's
Okay.
only done it
Question?
hundreds of times.
What do you get for F of force in the F equals M times A calculation?
about 2,188 pounds. I made a triangular crash pulse assumption.
Right, and if you took the milliseconds in half,
Triangular trad
become
wave
less
propulsion?
conservative, would you end up doubling the 2188 number?
If you cut it in half, you would double, yes.
Exactly, through a simple mathematical, semi-algebraic application of the numbers, correct? You
Correct.
divide,
We're doing a little simplification in terms of the crash
Yeah.
pulse shape, but generally, yes.
right. So, but let's take the conservative number, the lower number, 2188 that you came up with.
I
Do
don't
you
mind.
know from the literature?
I know everyone says this is new. This has been, when you sign, actually back when I flew in, you had to fill out a paper form on the way over saying that you didn't have allegiances to any bad guys, that you didn't come there to do crimes. So it's not new that they can look into your phone. They have actually had the right to do it of any foreign traveler. The last two times I've been in the States. It's nothing new. And again, you want to look at my Instagram photos, most of it is either weights or something from a merch store. You can look at that. I don't get nudes in the DMs, so I can't even turn that over and say, hey, look at these boobies. Well, I get Brandon's, but I delete them instantly. And you should get some penicillin. That Prince Albert is weak.
As you did with the head, you went to the literature and said, this is how much pounds of force, if you would get to have to cause a break at the occipital bone. Do you know from the literature how much force it would take to break an arm bone?
I have an idea, yes.
What is your idea?
So for a distributed load, such as this, not a concentrated load, you're going to need somewhere between, I've seen, and this is for cadaver tests, a low of like 2,500, maybe a little lower, to a high of 7,000.
Sir, you have switched, haven't you? We're talking about center mass impact. Did you in your calculation just switch to a side swipe impact to
Nope.
do your calculation? I'm asking about a center of mass impact. How much force would you need? Let's start with the hand. Maybe it's a simpler one. Do you know how much force it takes to break, any of the hand bones, you know what I'm referring to, the phalangeals?
It's not much.
Carpals?
It's not much force at
Correct.
all.
How much pounds of force do you need to break any one of those bones?
Actually, I didn't find any distributed loading on the amount of force. I don't know.
Well, no, I understand, but I'm asking, do you know from the
You ask a simple question. How much does it take to break a bone? I didn't see any broken bone. How much does it take to break the bone?
Yoda
You're
saved me.
talking about bones. Are we talking about wingless birds? Are we talking about buffalo wings? What kind?
You know, I would assume as a biomedical engineer or whatever the hell he said he was, that he should know how much force it takes to break the bones in the hand. I feel like that's something
Yeah.
that should be in his base knowledge.
He's obfuscating because obviously the forces involved would have broken the hand, would have broken the
Obviously.
arm, even if it was
Obviously.
distributive. It's been, look, we've seen it on YouTube with a ballistic arm dealie.
Yeah.
I mean,
We
I'm
know where
sorry.
they're going, and he doesn't want to go there because he claimed that the back of the hand made the injury or made the dent in the back of the Lexus, and he will now claim that wouldn't have caused any severe impact to the hand,
It's amazing
which
that
doesn't make
he
sense.
claims to not know this.
Yeah, and T-Rex
I don't
says,
know.
Baker, I can't believe that you won't acknowledge our love. I thought we had something, but the spicy photos stop now since you won't even acknowledge them. I said Brandon shouldn't send me anymore because his Prince Albert is weeping. I never said you shouldn't.
literature, not a calculation? Doesn't the literature tell you? Can't you go to the literature like you did with the head and you say, okay, to break the occipital bone, the literature says you need a minimum amount of force of this. I'm asking you the same question for
Not
the hand.
much.
If you don't know, it's okay, but do you know what the literature says for how much force is needed to break a bone in the hand?
So for a distributed load across the hand, there are distributed load tests that show you need over 300 Gs on the arm to do that. So it would depend on the mass of the hand.
What is the range
Wait, pause, Baker.
of force that you would need to break?
So my son fell down the stairs, broke his arm. That was 300 Gs.
Yeah,
That's what he's
apparently
saying,
it was. Yeah, I don't get these amount of Gs because in what is it in this amount of space? Of this?
Right.
Again,
There's a difference between getting hit with a bullet and getting hit with a truck, right? Like the same
Yeah.
amount of force does very different things depending on the mass of the object hitting you. So the G's feels weird the way he's saying it. It feels like it's a cop out and it's a tertiary language to the situation.
He's
yeah,
obfuscating.
I think it's because he would say, well, in this area there was 300 Gs distributed, but it was like 15 Gs everywhere within it or something. I don't understand why he keeps talking about, because Gs to me is force that you get moved with, and 300 Gs would shred your bones to a pulp.
It would literally
science
send
people-
your organs through the back of your rib cage at that speed. Like there's just going to be nothing left. It would be all liquid.
Is he interchanging G forces with newtons? Now, I was only in physics for like 5 days until they realized there's no way. So isn't a newton the force measurement that you use for stuff? Or am I totally
Yeah, you're measuring in Newton. I don't know why. When I think G, I think half naked men playing volleyball.
Or Kenny G, and it irritates me.
I'm going to fly to Finland on your connecting plane, and all I will say is I use a lot of toilet paper and like to drive all the bathrooms. Well, thank you for that nice surprise, Brendan. I'll meet you in Helsinki.
Ooh.
Hopefully. And K-Dubs says, this dude sounds like my hobby trying to explain why he has glitter on his peen after he's getting home from the bachelor's party. It was actually because they were at a club where some kids in the next room were having a glitter party. And then a cyclone, or a tornado, as you call them, hit the room and spun it. And he had to pee really bad, and that's why it gets stuck to his peen. I have had exactly the same thing. Funny enough, some of the women were just applying makeup, so I had some smears of lipstick when they passed across my peeing apparatus.
Terrible.
Break a bone in the hand. Do you know from the literature? If you don't, that's okay.
I could probably figure it out.
How long would it take you to figure it out? Do you know from the literature what that number is?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Is 300 to 400 pounds of force sound right from the literature that it would take to break a bone in the hand?
For a distributed load,
Yes.
such as the taillight, no.
No, not a distributed load. A load from a motor vehicle going backwards.
Right, that's a distributed load.
Right. So you're saying 300 to 400 pounds of force would not be enough to break any bone in the hand. Is that your answer?
So for a flat distributed load, like hitting the taillight, you're gonna need higher.
How about another part of the back of the vehicle?
I guess if you hit on the very corner and it wasn't a distributed impact, like if you had a more concentrated impact,
Yes.
that could increase or decrease the amount of force required.
How much would it decrease it from the number you gave?
Depends on what you're hitting, what it's made out of.
The
Contact
Lexus
area.
SUV. Let's assume, I'm sorry.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Absolutely. Thank you. Let's assume we're talking about this Lexus SUV,
Mhm.
right? So let me back up. You don't know where exactly under your theory that there was a contact, you don't know, you testified to on direct, you don't know exactly where that point of contact is.
Correct.
You don't know.
Except it's on the taillight.
Well, you're saying it's on the taillight, but you didn't observe any impact yourself personally, right?
Did I see Miss Reed's Lexus?
You didn't see the impact, correct?
That is correct.
So, and there is no firsthand witness that saw, under your view that a collision occurred, there's no witness to say where the arm was, correct?
There's no person that saw it.
Right. And you have chosen a point of contact, okay? You chose that for your analysis, correct?
Correct.
And you picked that location, but it's also possible that under your theory that a collision occurred, that that arm could have been impacted any part of the back of the vehicle. That's possible, isn't it?
That's not probable, no.
I'm asking, is it possible?
Anything is possible. I don't deal in possibilities, I deal in probabilities. It's not probable.
So, but you don't know exactly where the point of impact was, correct?
So within the range of the light and the exact angle of the hand, no, I don't. What I do know is at the rear tail light area.
So your assumption is that it had, that because there's a tail light that is altered, it must have been by Mr. O'Keefe's arm. That's your conclusion, correct?
My conclusion is there are tail light fragments, a broken glass, lacerations to his arm, and his DNA on the back of the vehicle in the area of the taillight.
No, that's a hair.
Sir,
No.
and Your Honor, I'm going to move to strike the DNA part of that answer for obvious reasons.
I'm not going to strike it.
Okay, so you're making assumptions. You're taking
Unrelenting
what you
thunder
view to
code.
be certain data, and you're coming to a conclusion, but that is based upon circumstantial information, correct? Is that fair?
Are you calling like pieces of the taillight at the scene around his body circumstantial information?
Sir, let me go to the force and then go back to the force analysis. Let's go back to the numbers. I want to stay on, if we can, just the calculation. So let's go back to the minimum amount of force you understand from the literature that it takes to break any bone in the arm from the finger up. Let's start with a hand. What's the minimum amount of force that can be applied to break a bone in the hand?
So it depends on the loading. So I don't actually know. In terms of the forearm, I can tell you there's data that shows up to 300 Gs of loading, you will not get fractures. There's one up to 750 Gs showing no fractures for a male of similar height and weight of Mr. O'Keefe.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So let's take those numbers,
Okay.
okay? You said 300 and 750. Did I hear it correctly?
You did?
Okay, that's the numbers you gave that would break a bone, correct?
So the 300 actually didn't break any bones, I believe. The 750, the one example, didn't break a bone, but as you got above 350, you started to break bones.
So as
300.
you got above 350,
300.
above 300, yeah, because that's what I thought you said the first time. You got above 300, you start to get breaking bones, correct?
Correct.
Oh my God.
And so if you take that 300 number and compare it to the 2,188 pounds of force, you have 7 times the amount of force necessary to break the bone, correct, in the force analysis?
No. If you take 300 Gs times a 12-pound arm, you get 3,600 pounds. The calculation you asked me to run earlier gave you 2,188 pounds.
Right.
So you are 1,412 pounds above the force required.
So yes,
The tolerance
Yes.
is 1,412 pounds above the force you would say get in a 20-mile-an-hour impact in terms of the fracture forces.
Let's do it this way.
I'm sorry?
Let's do it this way.
Okay.
The force that you calculated from my hypothetical of this Lexus SUV going backwards, you came up with the F number of 2,188, correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't. What was you said?
2,000
Oh my God.
I hate this man.
Do you say Lexus? I didn't understand what you said.
The Lexus.
My
Jesus.
I'm actually at that point where Bev should say, juries, we're going to take a break. And then she's going to tell this guy, you put down your effing electronic and stop trying to figure out what he's going to ask you. From now on, you only answer when you are spoken to. You stop interrupting. Next time you interrupt, it's going to be a night in prison. It's jail. I don't care. It's the same thing in Denmark. Next time you do it, it's a $5,000 fine plus another night in prison. The third time you try to obfuscate everything, you get a week in prison and a $10,000 fine. You're in contempt of court, sir. You better stop reacting like this. He should at this point be reminded that he's actually a fucking expert witness, not a hired gun to try and win the case for the Commonwealth. I have no dog in the fight. Oh, you said Lexus. What Lex? ¿Cómo está el Lexo? ¿Dónde está la blinky blinky? I don't know. It could. How much blinker fluid was on the car? Fucking idiot. Why is he saying there was DNA on the car? Because he claims there's DNA on the car. What we know is the only DNA they have talked about is that strand of hair. None of the other DNA was in any way related to John O'Keefe.
SUV that you've been talking about.
Gotcha.
Okay?
I didn't hear
You
it.
came up with a number for F for
Every witness on cross is hostile.
force of 2,188. Are you changing that number?
Nope.
Okay, so let's go with your number of force from this vehicle of 2,188. I'm just simply asking, how much force does it take to break a bone in the right arm of a human being? How much force, not acceleration, how much force does it take to break a bone in the right arm?
Sure. So somewhere
Oh, that was the hair sample DNA. It's not the
Between-
touch DNA.
2,500, the one cadaver tested the distributed load of someone of similar size and weight,
Oh my fucking God.
actually close in age to Mr. O'Keefe,
For
showed
God's sake.
uh,
Wait.
about 7,000 pounds of force to break it.
Let's
Wait a
go
minute,
to the
pause,
hand.
Baker, pause. He has documents on that calculator. He is looking up the reference documents on the calculator.
He is very interested in it. Yeah.
Well, that's what I saw him glance at it. He's been able to pull up things. Holy crap, why is this allowed? Also, at least in this nightmare,
Because
I
the
no longer have a
defense
headgear.
hasn't seen it and hasn't anyone out there thinking about hiring Aperture, I can see why certain insurance companies does it. I'm gonna start referring to him a lesser destroyer of careers. Actually, I don't think this is landing because he doesn't get any effing answers, and when he gets an answer, it's put in so much cotton that you don't know what's in it.
Do
I
you
love this.
disagree that the
only way
literature
next-
shows it
They're not
only
next
takes
week, they're the week
300 to
after.
400 pounds of force to break a bone in the hand? Do
So-
you disagree with that?
Your question's too general. I can't answer your question. It depends on the loading. If I take my pencil,
Funny how Bev rushes the defense but let the states talk and talk. That includes the witnesses. She keeps letting the state witnesses talk, but when it comes to defense, she tells them just to answer. Yeah, and this guy should be reined in, and she should actually tell him, stop fighting on every single question, because he wants to semantic everything. Well, it depends on if it's at one spot or in another spot, or the full load or the half load and dispersed loads. I'm more of a dispersed load myself. type of
Giggity.
guy. I thought experts were allowed to refer to the reports other experts have if they are allowed to do it. If they say,
If they
I don't
ask
remember, can I
permission.
refer to my report? Then the judge can say, yes, you may refer to your report. You can't just read your report.
But he's looking up other reference points. That's the problem. These aren't even his report. This is like he's Googling how much pressure does it take. He's looking at other reference papers that may be cited in his report, but I do think that he has to ask to look at for those things. And he's not.
He can't look at anything without being permitted to do it.
Which has a very fine point, and jam it through my hand, I can jam it right through my hand because it's a very small point. But if I distribute the load and a broader load, such as hitting a taillight, it takes much more force because the load is
Then how did the
distributed
taillight
across it.
explode?
It's like if I sit on the corner of my bed. I might sink in this far when I sit on the corner of my bed. But what happens when I spread my load out, when I lay on my bed like this?
Well,
I don't sink in as
hopefully
far.
your wife doesn't
Has my
mind.
weight changed? And weight is basically force. No, but I've distributed it over a larger area. So for a given force, you get less sinking into the mattress. So if you hit a broad surface like a tail light or a wall like this, it takes much more force than if I were to take a singular small round
Yes, we get
object
it.
and jam it
He's
into the hand.
talking about an entire
That hurts.
GDSU fucking V. Sorry, Baker.
This does not.
Okay, if you can hear my question, if it's unclear, you tell me. For not a pen, not your bed, but for a Lexus SUV of 6,000 pounds, is there any part of the back of the Lexus in any manner where you can get a brake to the hand from 300 to 400 pounds of force?
Any part on the back of the Lexus?
Yes.
Probably.
Okay. So probably, your words, you can get a brake to the hand from just between 300 to 400 pounds of force. That's what you just said, correct?
So you're taking the totality of the back of it, like if you got it stuck in the bumper.
Oh my God.
What the hell are you
potentially,
talking
yeah,
about, you
but
idiot?
From a taillight or a broad flat surface? No.
Not asking about a taillight.
How about the spoiler?
Part of the back of an SUV.
What is going
How
on?
about the protrusion on the rear tail light?
Probable.
What if she had mud flaps? What if she raised her chassis?
Get a brake of the hand force.
Your question is incomplete, right? You said any part of the back, but then you wanted me to not.
Oh my God.
Leslie,
Oh my God, Baker.
ask the judge to tell him to answer your questions. It's your job to rein this guy in now. He is running around you. I know you're smart and you're smarter than this. You're letting this guy take over the entire show. And this is why they
Absolutely.
put him on last, because he was told, stall, stall, stall. Make him infuriated with you. You have to stop him now.
In all fairness, Baker, why do you think he got $300,000 for this?
Because he's a troll?
Because he only gets $700 an hour.
Because he lives under a bridge scaring goats.
Include taillights or not include the rear body panel. If you hit a very narrow part of the car, like say the edge of the tailpipe, that creates much more of a narrow contact. So
Why is he fisting the tailpipe after he spread his
You
load on
cannot
the
be this
bed?
effing stupid. You cannot be this effing stupid. Start talking about a tailpipe. Why are you doing this? Do you want to be made fun of on international media because you are just being an obtuse asshole right now? Because you don't want to answer the question because you know you'll be asked a specific question. You said
Y'all-
that the dent in the back of the car came from John O'Keefe's hand. If it can dent the back of the car, it can fucking break his bones. You can't
Y'all,
tell
we
me
are
you
gonna
can
need
dent a car without
first
breaking the
jar
bones.
Donations.
Can you do me a solid? Can you take us off screen and just that for a minute so I can get a screen grab? Just the
Combined with the clip of spreading my load.
force divided by area is pressure. So if you have a very tiny area, you have very high contact pressures. And so, but if you distribute the load over a larger area, the number on the bottom of that fraction is much bigger, so your contact pressure drops. So hitting the edge of the exhaust pipe is going to have a much higher likelihood of causing a fracture than hitting flat against the tail light.
Okay, what we're going to do to make this more efficient, excuse me, sorry. Mr. Wolf, can you pull up a slide from Mr. Wolf's, or Dr. Welcher's presentation for the back of the Lexus, please? The back hatch, and Your Honor, may we publish that?
Sure. Do you know what number though, Mr. Leslie?
Mr. Wolf does, and
And
I
then
know
he'll
you
tell
need it, so
us.
he'll tell me before I publish, and then we'll give you the number.
Your Honor, may I look here?
Yes, I'm going to
Oh,
let
for-
Dr. Welcher look at
I-
his slide
Oh, sure.
here
Yeah.
instead of
Yeah,
just.
let him look at his slides.
The back hatch, yes.
I believe this man was hitting a pipe, but I don't think it was the tailpipe.
You have one of just a weird date.
Y'all, I am beyond words.
You want to measure the height? Maybe? There we go. Thank you. Okay, this is your slide presentation. Is there any part of the back of the Lexus SUV that has that more concentrated area where if the hand hit it, 300 to 400 pounds of force could break it? Is there any part, for example, the edge of the license plates, above the license plates, the L symbol that sticks out that would be concentrated? Anything you see there could 300 to 400 pounds of force contacting at any of those points cause a fracture of any of the bones of the hand.
So, I don't know how to show this because in the middle photograph, right where the 2 is on the license plate,
Yes.
there's a vertical edge. That area is recessed in. So if you hit right on that vertical edge, that could potentially do it.
That could do it. How about the L for the Lexus symbol if the hand is there?
No, it's not deep enough. The compliance of the hand is just going to sink into the car.
Is there any other part other than the license plate that the force applied, you would only need 300 to 400 pounds of force to break the hand?
Maybe the exhaust pipe, and
spoiler?
potentially if you hand your hand up near the spoiler.
Right, so now let's go from 300 to 400. Let's go to the 2188, which is your number. Use 2188. Is there any place where in 2188 force you could have a fracture of the hand on that back gate?
Just to be clear, 2188 is a number I calculated for you. It's not, quote, my number.
I understand, but we did.
Oh, for
I understand,
God's sake.
but we did the calculation. Is there anywhere on the back of the vehicle where 2188 could cause a fracture of the hand?
So that was a
The streams
forearm
have
fracture tolerance I thought we were talking about, because we used the weight of the whole arm for that.
We did. And my question is there anywhere in the back of the vehicle, in your opinion, that could cause a fracture with that
I'm sorry, what, to the hand?
to-
Just the hand or the whole arm?
I'll take any part of the right arm. You call it the hand, the forearm. Is there any part that could cause a fracture?
So probably similarly, if you got your forearm down near that transition, I don't know if you see the little dot, I'm talking about this area.
Yes.
Right here.
Yep.
So that transition between the 2 body panels.
Yes.
That could potentially do it. That's back where the reverse lights are. I'd have to look at whether, that would take it before breaking the plastic. And then, again, maybe if you hit the exhaust pipe as well, it's a much more narrow loading condition.
How about the corner of the tail?
Corner of the tail lamp. I suppose if you had just your hand on the very, very corner, potentially.
Potentially. But you didn't do any of that force analysis for this case, did you?
For the hand, no.
The part that you're claiming hit the
You
car.
did it for the head,
Force
correct?
analysis for that.
Correct. Because that I'm able to quantify.
By dropping a
Leslie-
dummy?
I mean, I'm confused. I can certainly punch a car hard enough to cause a bend in the bodywork without breaking my hand. Yeah, that's when you push your hand through it. This is a man holding a glass. He's not punching and making the strike ready.
That was slide 108. I just want to
I'm
keep
sorry,
that
Your
all.
Honor. Yes, Mr. Wolf. Yes,
All right, thank you.
thank
Is
you.
this dude just speculating? Maybe he hit the tailpipe. Yeah, he's just speculating. And
He
just trust me
wasn't
because
breaking.
I'm yelling louder than you.
That's not my number. Just
You are aware, Dr. Welcher, that Mr. O'Keefe suffered.
Again, the reason why you don't hear the questions, you moron, is you're calculating right now. Stop touching your devices until you're told to touch your devices. I can't with this guy. And again, Alessi, it's your obligation to point it out.
No fractures of any kind in his hand, correct?
So there were no fractures noted in the autopsy report, but they didn't actually x-ray from the records I've seen, either his hand or his arm. So there was, at least according to the autopsy report, no overt fractures, but the x-rays I saw, none of them were the arm, and the autopsy report said no sternum, spine, I think it said torso. They didn't say that there were no fractures there.
So there could
Was
be
there
fractures.
any evidence in the medical records that you reviewed of any indication whatsoever of a fracture in Mr. O'Keefe's hand?
No,
Was there any indication whatsoever in any of the medical records you reviewed that there was a fracture of any bone in the right arm of Mr. O'Keefe?
not that I saw. Again, it wasn't x-rayed.
Was there any indication in the medical records and the autopsy that you say you reviewed of any fracture of any bone anywhere in the body of Mr. O'Keefe,
Yes.
other than the occipital bone or the skull?
Yeah, chest.
There's a couple bones in the skull that were fractured, but other than the skull, no.
Correct. So,
Well, that's not true either. We know that he
No,
broke
that's-
part of his ribs
that-
from the CPR machine.
Yeah.
medical examiner for the state
You're
of
not going to fight him with
Massachusetts,
this one.
Dr. Shorty Bello performed an autopsy on Mr. O'Keefe. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
And you're aware of it because you read the autopsy report, correct?
Correct.
Are you implying, it's a question, that Dr. Shorty Bello missed a fracture or didn't look properly for a fracture on Mr. O'Keefe?
No, I'm simply indicating that, for example, a hairline fracture, I didn't see any evidence that they actually x-rayed the structure, so there'd be no overt evidence of that.
There were wounds on the right arm of Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
Correct?
And you are saying that the medical examiner should have x-rayed that to determine whether there was a hairline fracture? Is that your testimony?
No, you're asking me about evidence and proof of absence of fracture. So I would look for an x-ray to see if that was the case. I haven't seen any evidence of an x-ray of the arms.
So it's your position that on every autopsy, there should be an x-ray of every bone in the body, and that the clinical judgment of the medical examiner should not be accepted, and there should be an x-ray of every bone before a conclusion can be drawn that there's no fracture to a bone in the body of the deceased. Is that your testimony?
Absolutely not. Like, I'm an engineer. You're asking me about proof. And so he palpated and found a comminuted fracture. So we're talking about proof.
Sir, I didn't use proof in my question.
Ask me about the opinion of a medical examiner. I'm not a
Hold
medical.
on. Only one person at a time. Mr. Alessi, let him finish, and then you can ask the question.
No, don't let him finish. Shut him up.
Okay,
Yeah.
Finish your question, Dr. Welcher. Wait for the question. Then let Dr. Welcher respond.
Thanks,
It's a
Bev,
nightmare.
for
I
helping.
understand.
I love that her default is to yell at Alessi.
Yeah.
Dr. Welcher, I didn't use proof in my question. I'm going to repeat the question.
Find a
Is
microphone.
there any indication in any medical record, autopsy report of the deceased of any fracture of any bone in the body?
That was not your original question, but to answer your question, no. Except for the skull.
Except for the skull.
Correct.
It's also not true. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
but at
There's
this
that.
point, we're not arguing with this.
I
man
don't
'cause I'm not
understand
gonna
why
do
he's
it.
allowed a sharp in court to take notes.
Sharpie.
A Sharpie, maybe. There's no rules against it, I think. And
No
again, the
coffin
defense isn't
bangers.
asking
Do
him to put
you
it down.
understand whether the absence of any fractures other than the skull of Mr. O'Keefe was of significance to the medical examiner, Dr. Scorty Bello, in the conclusion she reached in the autopsy report that you read?
System.
Did you read the conclusions of Dr. Scorty Bello in the autopsy?
I believe so.
Are you aware of whether Dr. Scorty Bello has analyzed whether the injuries to Mr. O'Keefe are inconsistent or consistent with a motor vehicle impact? Are you aware of any analysis to that effect?
So I'm going to see you on this one.
Oh, well, you know what? A sidebar.
That's what I want to get.
The angles matter too. They matter as much as the newtons and force. Think about hammering a nail into a board. It's easier at certain angles than others. Yeah, but he didn't do any of this because he didn't know anything. So he just claims it happened, but he can't tell you how it happens, even though he did the testing.
K-Dub's corrected us. Sharp is a dangerous weapon, a pointy weapon, I would assume.
Well, he's not a murderer, so it's not like it's a problem.
I mean, it's a pen, right? There's a lot of cord.
He's not a suspect.
May I,
in
Your
any
Honor?
case.
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. Welcher, I would like to talk now about your paint exercise.
Oh, yes. Blue man.
You did not present, as you have stated, a force calculation with regard to the arm. You did a paint exercise. And what I want to do is to reference, and if we need to bring it up, sir, to refresh you, slides 103 to 120 of your PowerPoint presentation in this trial. I'll just call it the blue paint exercise. Is that descriptive enough for you to know what I'm talking about?
No, it's not an exercise, it's a test.
Bitch,
Okay, you
Oh,
want to call it?
you know what he's talking about, though.
Blue paint test. Okay, let's call it blue paint
Please
test.
donate.
I just want to try to expedite things and use parlance that we can agree on.
Okey-doke.
So your blue paint test involved painting the right rear tail light blue, correct?
Correct.
Positioning the test subject behind the tail light, correct?
Correct.
With the arm held out, correct?
Correct.
And at a right angle, correct?
Correct.
And then the vehicle, the Lexus SUV, is backed into the test subject, correct?
So I ran 3 different tests.
Oh my God.
I know, well, let's just do each one at a time, okay?
Okay, so you're starting with the last one.
I'll start with whatever one you want.
Okay.
How about if we start with the one at 1 mile per hour?
None of them are at 1 mile an hour,
2 miles per hour?
2 miles an hour.
Let's do 2 miles per hour. Let's start with that one,
Okay.
okay? Now, did you conduct that test in an attempt to show that the injury patterns on Mr. O'Keefe's right arm are consistent with being struck by the Lexus tail light on that arm?
So generally, I wanted to show that the location, area, and span over which that headlight covers matches the location and area of the lacerations on his arm.
That's what I want to get to.
Though.
So you discussed data that you say shows that that you say shows the Lexus SUV was traveling above 20 miles per hour during the period that you allege the SUV made contact with Mr. O'Keefe. Is that correct?
No, where'd you get that from?
Hold on. Okay. The answer is no. So did you do
Jesus.
I'd like to Sean Connery this guy.
a test involving 20 miles per hour?
I did some
This
other
guy.
backing tests.
Yes.
I was looking at how the rear pedestrian system and what warnings you got from the rear.
He's just so fucking dumb. Like it's not like he's
Yeah, and the things he's
intentionally
arguing
being bad.
is stupid.
Right. Do you understand what I mean when I say the blue paint exercise? No, I don't actually. It's the blue paint test. Well, you clearly understand what the hell he's talking about, you douche canoe.
Look. I wanna
Where
say
did
the
you
C
get
word.
20 miles from? Maybe because you sat for 2 hours yesterday and talked about the effing data that showed that she reversed at above 20 miles per hour. Where did you
He
get that
studied
from?
under Brennan. Brennan does this all the time. It was stated in testimony. There's clear evidence everywhere. You know, the witness said this. He is doing a Brennan. He must have watched. Y'all.
Sebastian, have en rigtig god dag, og tak for superchatten. Og
Oh,
forhåbentlig
thank
der
you for
ses vi i
joining
morgen
us.
til noget, der er knap så hårdt.
We'll see you tomorrow.
rear pre-collision system, the PCS system.
Let me ask you this. Would you agree that you did a blue paint test with the vehicle going at 2 miles per hour? Did you
Of course.
do that? Okay. You didn't do a blue paint test with the vehicle going at 20 miles per hour, correct?
That is correct. I was not going to hit myself with a Lexus at 20 miles an hour.
Nobody
You
said
have a
anything about
crash
hitting
test
yourself.
dummy and you could have done it to that, you fucking moron. Stop being. It's not like I'm going to kill myself. I'm not that dumb. Well, no.
It's not like I'm going to voluntarily break my arm with the
You
back of a
could
truck.
have done other tests where the vehicle was going at 20 miles per hour if you used a crash test dummy, correct? You
If
could have
you-
done that.
If you use the right crash test dummy and then to set up the test, because generally you only get 1 or 2 shots at it, because you damage the car, you have to know everything about the parameters. And so again, pedestrian impacts are so very sensitive to initial angles. If I were to do a test and it was off a tiny, tiny bit and we got some different results, I would be in here having to defend it. Well, your own testing didn't show it.
You're
Point
4
is
inches
we don't
off
have
a
enough
tiny bit.
information to be able to conduct that testing.
So you intentionally didn't do a test because you knew the results were going to be skewed?
As I understand it, is that the Lexus was going 24 miles per hour in reverse and made contact with Mr. O'Keefe. That's your analysis, sir.
No, there is not one single slide I have that says this is the speed he was hit at 24 miles an hour.
Do you know, do you have a hypothesis at what speed you believe there was impact? Do you have the point of impact speed?
I do not know the exact speed. We don't know the initial point of contact. We don't know where exactly he was on the road. We don't have enough information to determine that.
Let's talk about the other information you don't have.
Okay.
You don't have the information as to from your alleged point of contact to where Mr. O'Keefe landed. You don't have that information, do you, sir?
I'm sorry, where is my alleged point of contact?
You allege that there was a point of contact between the Lexus, the back of the Lexus, and
Correct.
Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
Right, but I don't know where that is on the road.
You don't know that. I want to go through the information that you don't have.
Okay, dope.
So you don't have that. You don't have the point of impact. You don't have where in the road there was impact under your allegation.
Those are the same thing.
Right. You
Oh,
don't
for God's
have
sake.
where under your view, the body of Mr. O'Keefe landed precisely. You don't have that information, do you?
What do you mean by precisely? We know it's 7 feet off the road. We know it's near the
How do you know
flagpole. We don't know where it started.
Here is
The
not.
problem is
knows
when
that.
it landed-
Here is Valhalla, salute. I can't.
Salute. That's the point of the last 30 seconds of testimony, sir. You can't prove that he was hit by a car. That's the entire point of the line of questioning.
And funny enough, this time Brennan has not asked one single witness where was John O'Keefe's body found. Because the last trial, we had anywhere from 8 to 20 feet off the road. This time, because he knew he was going to end with this guy who can't prove shit. He can't even prove he was hit by a Lexus. Because if he can't figure out place of impact, speed of impact, how can he even, to a medical engineering scientific jokerologist specificity, say John O'Keefe was hit by a car when he can't tell you anything based on any physical evidence other than, well, the tail light was shattered. So it must have been above 8 miles per hour. That's because he testified earlier, tail lights shatter every time they are hit at a speed beyond 8 miles per hour. This guy,
I think
Can't
technically what he
give
said
you-
was they wouldn't break under 8 miles an hour, technically.
that is Valhalla. What you technically just said was wrong, because what he testified to was in reality that it would have been above 8 miles, that it potentially would shatter. So I think you're right, but you're wrong. But this guy will now say, all I did was claim he was hit. How did I say that? Well, there's no injuries corroborating it. There's no. The only thing I base this on is an interview with Karen Reed, Trooper Paul's report, which I don't recognize as real because he is going against every single thing that Trooper Paul said. He can't show you it in the text stream, even though we were told, oh, the text stream will show you exactly when she hit him at 12:32:38, I believe it is. This guy has testified he don't know how fast the car was going, so he can't even testify to any degree of certainty that Karen Reed hit John O'Keefe and caused the death of John O'Keefe. This is what Alessi needs to get out of him. Thank you, RJ, for gifting a membership to Lisa Hines.
Was there
This
even
is-
an SUV? I'm genuinely not convinced anymore. To be honest, this
This
back and
is
forth bickering is
maddening.
probably just pissing off the jury.
This is so they are so in the weeds. I can tell you my brain has curled up into a ball and is just like, help me, help me, help me.
Yeah, but the problem is, who is his passive-aggressive ridiculousness hitting? Because they listen to him explain everything with the jury. Are they saying, well, Alessi is just making stuff up? This guy is constantly sitting there saying, no, you're wrong. So
Well,
it's
remember,
Alessi
too-
who gets the blame, or are they smart enough? And I don't trust the jury because I know what the jury from the first trial said. They're thinking, well, this guy is a stickler and he's an idiot. I actually think this is hurting the defense.
I don't know if it is. They were laughing at the last Aperture douchebag.
This guy,
No one was showing any emotion yesterday. And again, we don't know what they were laughing at. It's mind reading, and we can't read minds. And it's again, it was a highly biased source we had for the laughing.
This dude's got my heart
Yeah.
rate up, man.
Yeah,
I will say Alessi just needs to pound on the fact, Giggity, that there is no clear evidence of what happened. You reconstructed a scene that you have no idea. You don't know, the way he stood. You gave an approximation. Now you refuse to use that approximation to do the numbers. Why is that? Did you calculate this just for an example, just to see what would happen? Because that's what I would do. I would say, okay, this is where I'm starting it with, I have my arm crushed to my body and I ran it through the computer and he got massive arm breakage. So maybe if I put him to the side. I mean, that's what I thought accident reconstructionologists did. But apparently they make themselves Smurfs. PPS.
The problem is where it started.
Dr. Wolf has a Smurf picture shirtless.
I don't have where it started.
Help a sister out. Oh,
Yeah.
Lord, Miss Little.
At this
The
point,
paint tests that you used, aren't those used, if they're used at all, as an element of physical impact reconstruction?
When Brennan was like, it's not our fault that their expert didn't look at the text stream data. It looks like your expert didn't either, Brennan. Maybe he should have. I'm convinced you bring the ARCA guys in first now.
An element, not as the focal point of the
Rex.
test
Appreciate you.
itself.
So that was the focal point of that test. The focal point of the purpose of that test was to show the contact width and location of how someone of Mr. O'Keefe's height, which happens to be me, contacts and where it would contact where the broken taillight was. So no, that was the focal point of the testing. That's why I did the testing. That's why we're calling it paint transfer testing.
Right, but my question, sir, I understand you.
find a microphone.
But aren't paint tests in accurate accident reconstruction not used as focal points? They're used as supplements to other tests to get more accurate information. Do you agree or disagree with that?
You didn't give me enough information. I can't agree nor disagree. It depends on what you're trying to do.
Fuck yourself.
Mary.
Let's
and
go
Joseph.
to, on direct examination, you testified that after the 1162-2 trigger event, Miss Reed's vehicle traveled a distance of 87 feet. Do you recall that?
You are mixing up two things. Remember, the trigger
Jesus.
is in the middle of the event.
Give me the chart, please. Your Honor, I'll give you the, as soon as Mr. Woke gives it, the
Dude, this guy's got a
Slide
wedding ring.
23, I
Could you
believe it
imagine
is.
being this dude's
I'm
wife?
sorry, what slide?
Like, could you imagine trying to have
Well, I want
an
Mr.
actual
Wolf to-
Mahalo, she
conversation
has to be a deaf
about
mute.
dinner? Oh my
Hey.
God, bro.
Hey, do you want pizza casserole? I could drink some red Zinfandel. I asked you, would you have some? When you're asking questions like that, I really feel I'm lacking information that make me able to determine. I'd like some red Zinfandel. It's a pizza casserole. It'll have pizza and a casserole. I don't know what pizza casserole is. It sounds like some made-up stuff Americans use.
No, I
Well,
make it.
how could I determine what size of a casserole is it? What type of pizza? Is it Hawaiian? Is it 4 cheese? I would like if it was a pepperoni pizza. Well, it's going to be the normal one we had yesterday. It's leftovers. When you're talking about leftovers, are we even talking about a full meal because it's leftovers? Could we then say we are eating dinner when we're actually eating a past dinner? I'm lacking in. It's not even cute that you ask that way. There's no information here. You can't ask that question.
Baker, is it bad that I want the pancake waffle pizza lady back? I yearn for pancake waffle pizza lady.
This guy would argue. So at the hot plate, there's a lamp keeping the food hot. I can't tell you if it's one lamp, 2 lamps. It could be an array of lamps. It could also be that they have a special engineered under plate heating, kind of like a stove. How? I feel I'm lacking information. Oh, this guy. Can we put him in an airlock and alien this guy?
Can we watch him at 2.0? Just asking for.
No, because then I'll just scream even louder.
Check.
Yeah, probably.
Let me ask it this way, see if we can get to it quicker. Do you remember talking on direct about a calculation of 87 feet where you added, there was like a 30-something number and a 50 number and you came to 87? Do you remember that in your slide presentation, sir?
Slide 37, yes.
Right. So if we could bring up that slide, please, Your Honor, with your permission.
Okay.
That's 36, but okay.
Oh, for God's sake, I hate you.
Oh, go fuck yourself.
Sideways with a cactus, no lube.
No, I'm on 36.
Mr. Wolf, you have 33? If you could go to 33, sir.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, because that's where your 87 number is, not on the other.
It's on a bunch of slides.
Yep.
Go ahead.
You
Alrighty.
dick.
So if you could zoom in, Mr. Wolf, so Dr. Welcher can see the numbers in the column.
You're going the wrong way.
Yep.
Oh,
To the
I
farther
hate
to
you,
the right.
sir.
Oh, I'm not the only one that has problems.
Oh my God.
I'm not the only one
Okay.
having problems. Well, you have a
Sir,
very
do you
don't have it.
remember testifying about this? To the farther to the right?
Farther to the right.
Yep.
Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, because all
is
your
it
made up
53 number
numbers are
down there? That column?
Right.
So
can
you
we
take-
can we scroll up a tad so you can see the headers? There you
Oh,
go.
for
Okay.
No, no,
God,
okay, go ahead.
So am I in the right column relative to start? Is that the column?
So there's 2 columns. Like Z is relative to where it started, and then positive is forward. And then as you back up, once you go past 0, it becomes negative.
Right. So what I want to do is have you direct us to the column where you calculated 87 feet.
It's in 2 spots. It's at the end of column Y.
Right? We go all the way down. Is that in the yellow there? Is that 87, sir?
It is.
Okay, is that the 87 number you were
Hold on
referring
a
to?
second. You asked me to identify. So then it's see where the one next to it says minus 53.429.
Yes.
If you go up, so it's not a little bit down, a little bit, and add,
Oh.
see where it's changing directions at 34.157.
Yes.
You add those 2 together, that gives you the same result. So it went 34 feet forward and then 50 something feet backwards.
Right. And what is the 87 feet traveled, is that what you're indicating is the distance traveled during the trigger? Is that what the 87 represents to you?
That is so 87 represents the total rearward distance traveled during the trigger.
Okay. So you believe 87 represents the total rearward distance. Did I hear you correctly?
Correct.
Thank you, Jojo, for gifting 5 membership to Sarah Schwarzberg, which means Black Mountain. Over the Twop, Ace, moderate this, and Leslie M. Welcome to the club. You don't get
Yeah.
anything other than
Oh God, Valhalla. This
early,
is gonna be bad.
early videos.
You're also moving. You're actually not doing terrible. That's pretty
No.
good.
125. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
exercise.
120 over 100 maybe.
Oh, it's blood pressure. I thought it was his heart rate.
140 over 93. Never mind. You might need to take a breath and go outside and smoke a cigarette, which will, increase your blood pressure, but relax you.
Valhalla, how many second lieutenants like this guy have you met in your time in the military?
Too many. Too
It's
fucking
every
many.
second lieutenant. Every
Oh my God.
fucking second lieutenant.
Can you
Just hold on, to be clear. So
Cup.
it starts, it pulls forward,
Fill me
then it backs
up,
up, passes where it initially started, and goes
asshole.
53 feet further back.
That's what I want to get to. How many feet did you say on direct, and did you just say now that it went 87 feet in reverse?
Correct.
Okay.
From its furthest point forward.
Oh,
Well, that's what I want to get to because I want to have this.
Which is where
this
she
point
started the
clear.
reverse.
How many feet do you believe the Lexus
Paula, I
went in
can't.
reverse based upon your PowerPoint presentation? Not when it went forward and then came backwards. How many feet do you believe that vehicle went in reverse?
Your question doesn't make any sense because when it went forward,
hate
then
you.
it went in reverse.
It absolutely makes sense.
you cretin, you absolute mega thunder cunt. I don't like you. You are a boil on the butt of humanity that needs to be lanced with extreme immunity or aggression.
Take out the 34 feet forward motion. Take from there and then say how much she went back. Well, it's not like you can take out the 34 going forward. It just doesn't make sense. Well, it absolutely does make sense, you fucking moron. We are just
he is a male
moving.
Karen.
You want to go forward and back. He just want to go back. The entire length he went back.
It's not like it
He
was
is
a
a
I
male
was married
Karen
to this
and he
guy.
must be destroyed.
The question was, how far did she go in reverse? He said, well, your question doesn't make sense because she went forward first. That wasn't the fucking question. You brain dead. He looks like who's the gay guy from the Rittenhouse trial?
Binger.
He looks just like Binger. He looks like an older version of Binger.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
he acts like
Has-
Binger.
Yeah.
See what had happened when.
And why didn't he make a video of that? That's funny, right? He only had that sliding scale. He didn't put that into a video like the 3-point turn.
Please let it be 4 soon. And thank God tomorrow's a half day, because holy God.
How many feet do you believe the Lexus went during the trigger?
So it went a total of 80, it went 34 feet forward, then it came back 80, or another 53 feet past where it went.
No.
So
83 and all.
you've testified that the 1162-2 trigger event represents a backwards maneuver, correct?
So again, that was clear. It initially pulls forward
No,
and then backs up.
not at the trigger,
I
you
would like you
idiot.
to define, so it's clear to the jury. Do you consider the event of 1162-2 just backward movement, or do you consider the trigger to be forward movement and adding to it backward movement? Which one?
So can we pull the slide up?
Sure.
Oh my God, I hate him so much.
Could you zoom in? There you go. No, go back to the left. So that T in the third column for data ID represents the trigger. If you scroll over a little bit to the right, where the highlighted yellow blocks are, you can see 1 is a forward drive gear, 0 is neutral, 2 is reverse. So that's where it's switched from forward to reverse. I mentioned the brake. So you have it on the brakes coming in, slowing, stopping, going into reverse, and then backing up.
So you conclude that the vehicle for this trigger went 34 feet forward, is that correct?
Correct.
How do you know the vehicle didn't go 150 feet forward? How do you know it just went 30 feet, 4 feet forward? How do you know that?
So the only data we have is this 10-second window. And so we have the velocity when it's going forward. We know how much time it took to do that. So that tells us how far it would travel. Velocity times time is distance.
So are you saying that it is a certainty that it went forward 34 feet and there's no other number of feet it could have gone forward. You're absolutely certain of the 34 number.
No. Again, if you look, see where it says vehicle speed?
I see it.
So at the start of this event, which is the trigger -5, so the trigger is actually where it's triggered, and it takes 5 seconds before, 5 seconds after. But when the trigger happens, it's actually stopped. But the 5 seconds before, it's going 13.6 miles an hour forward. So at the start of the data, it's still going 13.6 miles an hour forward, but it's slowing down. You can see you have the brake, where it says brake SW, which is short for switch. The brake switch is a 1, which means it's on. So when this event data started, it's going 13 miles an hour.
I'll ask the question a different way. Are you certain that the distance traveled forward during this trigger event was 34 feet? Are you certain?
I'm pretty certain during this trigger event.
Pretty certain
Pretty
or
certain?
Pretty certain.
Well, I've checked the math. I've had people check my math. So I try to be as accurate as possible. I would say I'm certain,
Okay.
but I'm an engineer.
With-
So there's no absolutes. There's no 100% in my job.
So you're certain of the 34 feet, and is it
I'm going in a plane designed by engineers. I hope they were certain.
Oh God.
I'm gonna drive in a train tunnel on the way to the airport. I really hope they were certain when they built that tube I'm gonna drive underwater with. I'm gonna
Oh.
get into an airport where there's a lot of movement going around. I really hope they were certain they built it to spec so it's not gonna fall down. But can
I
we
trust
just say one more thing that I haven't thought about with this 1162 at all?
What?
The car was moving when this started, right?
I believe
When she
so.
moved forward and slammed it in reverse. It's the slamming into reverse that makes it trigger.
I think so.
So she was leaving the spot and driving off and then driving back within 5 seconds. And John O'Keefe was just standing there looking at her with the glass out. Or was the car moving when you started these 5 seconds so she had already driven off? It's impossible to tell because in the first trial we were told she was at a standstill, moved forward 40 feet, I believe, and then drove back, 60 feet, and then reversed 60 feet. That was what we were told. We know from every single witness, the car was at a standstill at the flagpole. But that's not what this trigger data shows. It shows it was moving already when
Yeah.
the trigger comes on.
Okay, is anyone in chat a mathologist? Oh my God. Now I don't even know if there was snow.
We can't tell anything because all he says it is 5 seconds before she slams it into reverse and starts reversing. She's moving at 16 feet per hour or whatever it is.
Baker, I
Um,
trust
Moving in
Rihanna, who
reverse.
made my bra, more than I trust him.
She's already moving in reverse when the trigger event hits.
Thank you, Sue, for having some. Yeah, but it's the triggering event is when she slams it into reverse. The problem is
Not according to his chart. According to his chart,
the triggering event is what happens at 1162-2.
Yeah.
She has been moving backwards for 4 seconds. It takes 5 seconds before and 5 seconds after the triggering event. So you look at what happened on top of that. The triggering event is when she does something, the car thinks, what the hell's happening? And then it'll lock 5 seconds before and 5 seconds after. She's already moving forward, and then she puts it in reverse and goes backwards.
Baker, just for us,
The
can we
triggering
have a
event
Swayzer break?
is not a here and now.
Can we have
Yeah,
a
I
Swayzer
need to,
break?
because I'm gonna-
or like,
I'm-
hi, my name is Jim. I just,
I'm Jimmy. How y'all doing? Yes,
When did you first meet Maureen?
this is in the summer of 14.
And where did you meet her?
Jamie's laugh
agree on-
always makes me laugh.
I agree with this guy on the aspect when engineering things, you are 98% sure that they will work, but in aerospace, it's why you have test pilots because you're not 100% sure the thing will fly. Here's the chart that they just showed, Baker. And according to this, the trigger event takes place.
Can you? No, you can't zoom into YouTube.
I don't think so.
Where is Mr. Wolf?
So the trigger event is here at 0 miles per hour
Yes.
and in reverse already.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but he says the triggering event is when she puts it in reverse.
Well,
That's
he's
not
fucking
true, though.
lying. Yeah.
You
The
guys.
trigger event then would be up here, and it's not. This is when it hits dead RPMs.
I can't do this. Should we just say thank you all and see you next Tuesday?
We're almost done. We're almost done with the
We're
day.
almost
We can get
done.
through the day.
Solo cup is still full. We
Oh.
need to finish the day.
53 feet going backwards. Are you certain of that, sir?
So backwards from its initial starting position.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. And therefore, you are certain of a total of 87 feet traveled that you have at the bottom in that yellow-orange. You're certain of that as well?
87 feet of backing, correct.
Okay.
That was the original question, you tool.
testified on direct, as I understand it, in slide 23, that different numbers represent different gear states of the vehicle, correct?
Correct.
And a 0 represents neutral,
I think it's either neutral or park, but I'm pretty sure it's neutral.
Wouldn't
a
you
1
know
represents
this?
drive,
Correct.
a
Dingle
2
Barrel.
represents reverse,
Correct.
or a 2 can represent slowing down. Is that correct?
Not for a gear
Such a
shift number.
dildo.
So you didn't say on direct that 2 could represent reverse or slowing down.
God, I hope not.
No,
It
he said
doesn't.
a negative
Those
number.
numbers simply represent, is the transmission in drive? Is it in neutral? Is it in reverse? It doesn't tell you anything about whether it's slowing down or not. But the brake switch and the brake pressure and the longitudinal accelerometer data gives you some information on that.
Okay, so if Your Honor, we could go to slide 30, please.
Okay.
Mr. Wolf?
Such a turd.
And I want to do it generally. There's not a need to read any specific number. I just want it clarified.
Mr. Leslie, so is this 30 or 31?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Your Honor, you are correct. It's 31 in the most up-to-date presentation. Thank you. You see all the numbers in blue font on that slide, sir?
I do?
Those are all numbers that you have placed on that slide. Did I have that correct in your direct presentation?
You do?
Okay. So this Excel spreadsheet, there's also numbers in black, correct?
Correct.
So all the ones that are in blue, those are numbers that you have placed into the spreadsheet. Correct?
Correct. The one exception is column N, where it says ship position.
Yes.
I changed green to forward and red to reverse.
So the data in the columns in blue are not from the original data that was downloaded from the vehicle, correct?
Correct.
Like, for example, if you look at column H, I simply did a unit conversion. So it's the same number, it's just in different units. But the black numbers represent exactly as it comes out of the vehicle, but it's the same number.
All right, that's what I wanted to get to. So for clarity for this slide, when you download this data from the vehicle, what is in black, those numbers just come right out, correct? As they're stated. But the blue numbers, they don't come out like the numbers in blue. You have to do something, some calculation, some application to get to the blue, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, we're going to keep that up, Mr. Wolf, please. Thank you. And when we need to get to the specific numbers, we'll be fair and make sure you can see them. Now, in these columns, do I understand it correctly that you attempted to account for wheel slippage in the revolutions per minute speed values produced by the car?
Not here. You're looking, this is 1162-1. The wheel slippage occurred in 1162-2.
Okay, and so if we go to a slide with 1162.2, we will then go to the slide you believe represents wheel slippage. Is that correct?
There are data points in that represent
dear.
slippage.
That's my question. In which slide, sir, would you like to pick?
35.
Thank you. So we will go to slide 35. So
I've highlighted the slippage.
exactly.
I have
So
sighed more than
you
Bev today.
agree that there is data that shows that there is wheel slippage with the Lexus SUV during trigger event. Let's enlarge it for this one here. The trigger event, the number 1162-2, correct?
Correct.
And as I understand it, you testified that this trigger event was caused by a depression of the accelerator pedal at more than the 30%. Is that correct?
It's a transition into reverse and then a quick acceleration exceeding 30%
So let's
in reverse.
Okay, got it. So the accelerator pedal being depressed to this degree, more than 30%, can be the result of wheel slippage, correct?
It doesn't necessarily work that way. I mean, you can have wheel slippage at any acceleration, technically, depending on the roadway. It's just what is in the data that shows that it's slipping. It isn't necessarily because of the accelerator. Normally, that's what causes slippage. But it's the data. When you look at the data, you're like, well, that doesn't make sense. It's increasing in speed, but yet the longitudinal acceleration is dropping.
My question, again, doctor, is you can have an accelerator pedal depressed greater than 30% and it be caused by wheel slippage. That can occur, correct?
The wheel slippage does not cause the accelerator pedal.
I'm not saying a cause and effect. I'm just saying a correlation. Do you understand what I mean by a correlation?
Let me, if I may, try and straighten this out. So applying heavy acceleration can cause the wheels to spin. Is that what you're asking me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I wanted to get at. Alrighty. So in your review of the materials that are related to January 29, 2022, did you become aware of whether
He just asked him a clear yes or no, and he just said, "If it, I'm gonna go on a tirade again."
Yeah, let
There
me
were-
clarify your redisness.
Yeah, let me tell you where you fucked up.
and you said you extensively reviewed documents, did you become aware whether there were people at 34 Fairview?
Yes.
And approximately how many people, without regard to names, just number, how many people did you become aware were at 34 Fairview on January 29th, 2022, the early morning hours? How many people approximately did you become aware were present?
It depends on which time, but there could be as many as 16.
As many as 16. And let's talk about the time period from midnight to 1 a.m. Do you have an understanding of
Past
how
1
many
o'clock,
people could have
she's
been
drunk.
present at 34 Fairview at that time period?
Where was the Jeep, Doc?
So I'm going to see you at sidebar on this. Mr.
Where was the Jeep?
Oh my, Bev.
Yeah, let's get to the Jeep.
Fubar made this, and I think it's fantastic, and I wanted to share
It
it with
is
you all.
awesome sauce. I love it.
Usa. He made you one. I just sent it to you on Twitter.
Yeah, Fubar, thank you so much.
Whether there
you
were-
are awesome.
He also made some for me that make me afraid of flying.
Oh, gosh, Miss Little, those streaky highlights are terrible.
Hey,
May I, Your
Oh my
Honor?
gosh.
Thank you.
Hey, Bob, the day is young. Give it time.
Dr. Welcher, am I correct in my understanding that you believe under your theory, the Lexus for event 1162-2 backed up 53 feet? Am I correct?
No, it backed up a total of 87 feet.
Okay, let's take your 87. It backed up a total of 87. Okay.
Correct.
And your further theory is that it did so and reached 24 miles per hour, correct?
Correct.
And you stated you have an understanding of a certain number of people, and I don't want to talk about the inside of the house, but just that were at 34 Fairview between roughly 12 and 1 a.m. Do you have an understanding of that, sir? Approximately.
I believe I do.
And what is that number?
Do you want them people that were there for that entire window of time, or
Yeah,
just?
Yes, 12 to 1.
So Mr. Leslie, just move to the last question.
Right, sure. So, sir, did you assume that there were cars parked out front of 34 Fairview at that 12 to 1 o'clock window? Did you assume any cars
Where
parked
was
out
the
front?
Jeep, Doc?
The entire time?
No, I'm just talking 12 to, yeah, any time between 12 and 1. Did
My
you make any
God.
assumptions whether there were cars parked out front on the roadway at 34 Fairview? Did you make any assumptions with regard to that?
At a point in time, there was a vehicle behind it.
I'm sorry,
There
One?
was a vehicle behind it.
just one?
Only one.
That is my understanding
What?
in terms of on the street. is
On
your
the
question.
street,
Yes.
But
And what,
There were
do
two.
you remember the type of vehicle?
Yes,
What kind of vehicle was it?
an F-150 pickup.
Did you have any understanding as to whether there was a Jeep vehicle on the road at that 12 to 1 time period?
I had seen testimony somewhere to that effect, but the majority of the testimony was there were no other vehicles.
But you did see testimony that there was also a
So we're just
Jeep
gonna
type vehicle
we're just gonna
on the
not
front
bother with the
front
guy that said his Jeep was parked
of 34 Fairview between
No
12 and
worries.
1. Is that what you're recalling?
So I'm going to let that answer stand, what he's just testified to. Just go ahead and. move
Okay, so Dr. Welcher, what I want to do is to have you use your
That's-
data. You say 87 feet for the backup, correct?
Correct.
1162, up to 24 miles per hour. Isn't there a likelihood, if there is at least one vehicle out in front of 34 Fairview, that there would be a collision of the Lexus SUV with the vehicle out front?
No, the vehicle left prior to the end or prior to event 1162-2.
What
Not the Jeep.
information do you have with regard to how many vehicles are in front of 34 Fairview at between 12 and 1?
So I have Ms. Reed's interview statements. I have statements of a number of witnesses. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the names.
Let's not.
I was just gonna say, let's not just number of vehicles.
Okay, so I have a number of witness statements at multiple statements from the same witnesses at different times, indicating the path and following the Lexus to the house and then leaving before the event.
Assume that there were vehicles, at least one vehicle parked out front of 34.
they're gonna call Higgins, and
Yep.
either
Yeah.
he testifies, yes, my Jeep was there, then this guy's a effing liar, or two, he's gonna say, no, my Jeep wasn't there, and then he's gonna be impeached by prior statements.
Fairview.
He's gonna go to jail.
No, he's not.
Is there
He's
a
defense
likelihood
doesn't
that
do
given 24 miles per hour,
Be able to get away
or
with perjury.
87 feet,
Better
is there a likelihood that there would be a collision given the weather conditions as you knew them to be at that time?
Well, the weather, I don't think necessarily plays into whether there would be a collision or not, but we know it backed up 87 feet. So again, it goes forward like 35-ish and then
Shut
back
up.
like 60 something. And so if
53.
something is within 65 feet of the rear of it, or whatever the numbers are, I need my slides,
It was 50.
50,
Yeah, go ahead.
57. If something is within that window,
53.
then it would hit it.
All right, good. So now let's look at
Give this vibe to one of the mermaids you meet on your cross-Atlantic journey. Don't worry, Welch will find the black box, even though it's not his thing. Oh,
Did you just hear what this
Let's
man
go.
said? He
Yeah,
said that if there was a vehicle there, then she would have hit it.
yes, that's what I said yesterday.
we've
That's
been
what I
saying the
said
whole
last
time.
year. That's
This
why
is
I.
what we've all. My.
another.
Why are we still here?
If it's going as you describe it, is there a likelihood that the Lexus would also go upon the lawn in front of 34 Fairview?
It depends on where it starts.
You have an opinion, don't you, as to where it starts?
No, I do not. That's actually why I have that diagram showing it off to the side.
That's
I'm
right.
simply showing how far it moved forward, how far it moved back.
Exactly.
We don't know where on the roadway it started.
Exactly. You don't know where on the roadway it started. And therefore, all you have is the distance covered, correct?
Correct.
So, but you're saying the distance is 87 feet, correct?
87 feet backwards, yes.
So backwards, 24 miles an hour. Have you ever driven a vehicle backwards 24 miles an hour, sir?
How long would it take to
Yes,
stop?
I've driven this Lexus backwards 24 miles an
Right.
hour.
So if anybody who's driven a vehicle back, have you ever driven any vehicle back 24 miles an hour at 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the morning?
Probably not since I got out of high school.
Have you ever done it when there's a storm that is beginning?
No.
Have you ever done it
Right,
when
I'm
there
worried.
is less than clear visibility?
No and no.
And have you ever done it when there's low lighting?
Oh, maybe when I've been up skiing in the snow,
Oh my God.
I've done it.
Idiot.
But again, that's
You have driven backwards 24 miles per hour in a ski resort. Why you always lying? Why you always lying? I would rather believe Valhalla said, I haven't drank a beer this year, than I believe this guy is doing 24.3 miles per hour at ski resorts.
No.
Thank you, Fubar.
Fubar, you
And
are
I don't know why I have a
excellent.
ghost
Thank
on my
you so
phone.
much.
Decades.
Because you have that little thing on your mic. Your
That's a
little,
thought.
the little
24 miles an hour. Are you saying that in every instance that vehicle will stay on the road and for 34 Fairview, it wouldn't go up on the lawn?
When you mean every instance, mean like every possible location on the road it starts from?
Correct.
No, there's some spots. If you start here, it's going to go up on the road, on the yard. If you start too far on the other side, you're going to go over into the neighbor's yard. So it depends on where you
Wake me up
start.
when it's
And
time.
so in given the conditions that we've just described, right? The
Conditions
weather,
have nothing to do
I
with where
need
you
to finish
start.
my
Hold
question,
on.
sir.
Only one at a time.
Yeah,
No,
can you
finish.
tell this idiot to stop
Given the
talking?
conditions that you've described, it is reasonable
How does the expert do
conclude
this?
that that vehicle, under your parameters, would have gone up on the lawn. Is that a reasonable conclusion?
No.
So you don't think there's any possibility that could occur a vehicle going 24 miles an hour at this location, 87 feet backwards, in the dark, with wet pavement at a minimum, and low lighting, you don't believe it's possible for the vehicle to, under your scenario, to have gone up on the lawn? That's not
So
possible.
your first question was reasonable, and I said no.
Oh,
Now you're
fuck
asking
you.
possible. It, of course, is possible. Whether it's reasonable or not, I'd have to know the starting position.
Right.
If it's very close to the side, then it could be reasonable. If it's further towards the middle of the road because snow is building up on the side of the road, then it's probably not as reasonable. I would need more information to be able to determine whether it's reasonable or not. It's certainly possible.
So you're
It's
saying
possible
the
it could have shot off into
investigation was
space as an engineer,
terrible and you
but
didn't
not
get any
probable.
information?
Oh, you think it's possible?
I hate this man.
did not.
Sorry, I'm going
Probably not as reasonable. I would need more information to be able to determine whether it's reasonable or not. It's certainly possible. It's possible it could have shot off into space as an engineer.
No, it's
I
not.
hate you,
Probable.
you asshole.
Oh, you think it's possible that it could have been shot off into space, sir?
As an engineer, it's a possibility.
It's a
You-
possibility that
Absolutely.
this Lexus could have been.
You anal fish dealer. Do not look that up.
I will never, ever rent an Airbnb that you own. If your engineering skills are so great that it's possible for an V8 with 320 horsepowers, weighing 7,000 pounds, to take flight on a flat road backwards with a flat surface, accelerating till I believe it's 40,000 feet, where you do an inverse. I've been playing Cable Space Program back in the day. You do a tilt so you can get through the atmosphere. If you think this is an engineering possibility, I need to know exactly what university you got your engineering degree from. And if it's anything that's not online, ran by a Nigerian prince who on his off time doubles as one of the guys who will text sad incels who buys Amaranth's OnlyFans content, I want that university to lose all funding instantly. Do you know that you need a whole heck of a lot of pressure to move through the air, especially with a flat surface? I know it's not like in The Dictator that you needed extra pointy to make it
More
dangerous.
pointy. More pointy.
You, sir, is not even a joke. Everything you just said should lose you your job, because there's no, if you engineer that there's no air resistance and the engine magically puts out millions of pound force, you are a fucking joke. Sorry if you lose monetization, Mo and Val. This
I don't care
is
anymore.
the worst witness
Most
I
give
have
up all
ever
of it.
seen, and I rewatched Trooper
At
Paul.
least for this stream.
This guy claims, I don't know when, I don't know how, and I don't know with what force John O'Keefe was sideswiped. But I can, without any doubt, 100% say a Lexus could go into space. Yeah, if you strap it inside of a rocket, because the air resistance on that vehicle wouldn't even... SpaceX couldn't lift this vehicle into space because of the weather, the air resistance to it.
Yes, it wouldn't. Baker, I think you need to take a walk in your garden.
Can we take a second to acknowledge the fact that an expert witness just testified that Alexis could possibly reach spaceflight?
Also,
Let that sink in.
can I say that I'm glad that when I had this nightmare fever dream in high school when I was in trigonometry, I'm glad I'm not naked in this fever dream.
I would rather be naked on camera than listen to any more of this guy.
I would rather do naked burpees in Walmart than listen to this man anymore. And I can't do a burpee, and burpees suck.
I'd rather Mo be naked too than listen to this man anymore, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Doggone it, I shouldn't drink on But this man is an absolute condescending dillhole who has a micro peen that's an innie and is taking it out on every single other fucking person in the universe. And it's not my fault that you have an innie, sir. That's genetics. It's not my fault that your parents were cousins, allegedly, or sister and brother. But that's not my fault. So stop showing math to me.
Where is Brian S. when you need him? That's a valid question, Jason. This guy is...
In short, you need a force equivalent to several rocket engines, roughly 30 million newtons for escape velocity applied over a second. Practically, this is beyond any single punch. Want me to dig into specific, like drag? No, I just want you... So,
Baker, can we just call it a day?
Possible...
Because I don't even know what my breakdown's going to be. I usually do them as soon as we get off stream, so I don't put them off. This is, oh Lord. Ranty Mo.
Island's got a great suggestion for your breakdown, Mo. Put a spacecraft with your Lexus commercial, and you'll be just fine.
A Lexus LX57, a 2,700 kilo SUV, cannot reach space on its own. It lacks propulsion system capable of generating the millions of newtons needed to achieve escape velocity, 11.2 kilometers a second, or even low Earth orbit, 7.8 kilometers a second. As discussed, the force required more than 30 million newton for escape over 1 second is equivalent to multiple rocket engines, far beyond the initial combustion engine. Lexus V8 produces 5,000 newton meters at best.
Hey, Baker,
theoretically, you could strap the vehicle to a rocket like SpaceX Falcon's Heavy, 27 million newton thrust to lift it into space, as NASA did with a Tesla Roadster in 2018. But the Lexus itself contributes nothing but mass, and its design isn't suited for space. Tires, frame, and electronics would fail under launch stress or vacuum. In short, a Lexus LX57 can't reach space independently. It could be carried as payload by a powerful rocket, but that's about it. Thank you.
NASA didn't launch that Tesla.
Wait, Baker, can you ask how much force it takes to break a hand? Because I would like an answer from Grok, because Grok is straightforward. How much force does it take to break an arm? Or
a bone in the hand?
A bone in the hand. I mean, I'm sure Grok is going to be like, well, I mean, is it a pointy force or a doodle force?
This is just amazing that this is in a court of law. This guy, he's a doctor. He just testified that a Lexus 570 could reach orbit. Not even like that bullshit Katy Perry orbit, like actual space, he said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Baker, you're closer to CERN. Have they done something lately? Because this is fuckery of a grand time. And
Lexus LX57 570 hitting a hand at 5 kilometers an hour could generate 3,800 newtons in a direct impact, enough to break the metacarpal At 50 kilometers an hour, forces would exceed 37,000 newtons, guaranteeing fractures. Even a slow-moving Lexus can break hand bones if the impact is focused. So, yeah.
Shot up into
Yeah,
space.
highly, highly unlikely. But
All right.
again, you're asking an engineer
Possible.
about possibilities and probabilities.
Let's get back to
It's
reality.
not
More than
possible.
one hypothesis.
Sorry. I need to...
It's not possible, bro. It's not possible.
Wounds that you
That's
say
stupid.
came from the car. Agree or can be seen on.
Driven this Lexus backwards 24 miles an
Right.
hour.
So if anybody who's driven
Oh, you're way back.
upon the lawn in front of,
Oh, don't.
Every instance, meaning asking an engineer about possibilities and probabilities.
let's get back to reality. So in terms of the Lexus itself, because you, under your method of analysis, don't have the starting point, you can't rule out that under your scenario, the vehicle would have gone up on the lawn. You can't rule that out, can you, sir?
I cannot. No, it could have.
Okay. Now let's go to the next topic. If we could, Your Honor, have Exhibit 168 published in evidence, which is now under the 167. Now, as I understand your testimony, Dr. Welcher, you believe that it's possible
Thank
that
you.
the Lexus taillight could have caused these wounds to Mr. O'Keefe's right arm. Is that correct?
Correct.
And more specifically, it's your belief that the lacerations would have been caused by the vehicle scratching Mr. O'Keefe's arm as it drives past him. Is that correct?
Blake, how the jury will figure this one out is a preponderance of the evidence. Remember, the defense still have to put their case on. But if they're believing this idiot after saying a Lexus could shoot off to space, he's lucky that we are at the end of the day, so they probably won't remember this. But he's going to come back tomorrow, and he's going to be his obnoxious self again. And
Well,
then
and what-
Brennan will come back and say, well, it clearly happened.
Well,
don't know, I
and what he
characterize it
doesn't
that way.
realize
What-
is he's now given Alessi an entire day to really go back. Because my guess is, as analytical as Alessi is, he's going to go back and watch and really try to study his behavior. So you are again giving Alessi another night to study you.
What happens is, there's 6,000-pound vehicles coming, and he's standing on a, icy, snowy roadway area, and it's going to contact him and move his whole body and induce rotation.
Right. So it's going to contact him and, under your theory, induce rotation. So wouldn't such a movement of the car relative to his right arm
Thank you, Shelley.
result in horizontal injuries to Mr. O'Keefe's arm, as can be seen on his bicep above the elbow?
So could we pull up one of my slides to address this issue?
No,
Sir,
I'd like to answer your question with a slide
just
that I
answer
have
with what's
that
put up
addresses
there,
this
you
exact
moron.
point.
I'd like to stay with this slide, Dr. Welcher, and see if you can answer my questions off of this slide. So I'll repeat it.
Sure.
Do you agree that the injuries up at the upper part where
This is the guy that's supposed to land the case for the, and I think Alessi is getting better after the break, but he wasn't good in the beginning.
you're familiar with the bicep
No.
brachialis?
I am.
And aren't those two up at the top, right over the bicep brachialis?
They're actually about midway between the biceps and the triceps.
Right. So you know which two I'm talking about, the two up there. Can you just use your laser pointer just so we're talking about the same two? Do you have one?
I'll give it a try, but the upper ones
I hate you so much.
I know it's not your fault, but
on the
sometimes it
image,
doesn't
the
show.
upper left. I mean,
Yes.
technically, the ones right to the right of that are also on the biceps and triceps.
Right, but
the
I'm talking-
biceps goes all the way to the elbow, so do the triceps.
Right. So I'm talking about the two that are the farthest up.
Correct.
All right. Would you agree that those are in a horizontal orientation?
Generally, yes, which is what you'd expect with your arm like this and the tail light coming across like this, which is what I showed in my slides.
My questions are trying to.
How is the tail light coming across like that? Can't you see it yourself, you moron?
Okay, Baker, this might be a really dumb question, but if you hit with enough
Today, no
force to
questions
break-
are dumb because all the answers have been stupid. So
Okay, but if you hit with enough force to break the tail light, how much force does it take to break a tail light? I guess that hasn't even, or has that been explained?
any speed over 8 miles per hour breaks taillights instantly. But he's saying that the tail light would go across like this. But his arm is like this, so the tail light should be passing this way. So when he's spun around, there's no longer contact with the tail light. It doesn't make sense if... sorry, Bender, my buddy.
Thank you.
His testimony is he's standing like this, which would mean when his arm is hit, his fucking body is behind it, or else his arm should be out here. Then he claims that the impact hits the arm here and then scrapes along the arm. But if there's an initial impact that spins him around, this tail light will still keep going this way. It wouldn't scrape against his arm. I'm out of here. See you tomorrow. Hasta la taco.
Lurking feds, do you want me to get my bad touch
Those are in a
doll?
horizontal
Give me a
orientation.
sec.
Yeah,
Yes
more
or
or
no?
less. They're angled down slightly, but more or less horizontal.
Okay. Isn't it true that if Mr. O'Keefe's arm were to be flexed like it was with a test subject in your blue paint test, the lacerations on Mr. O'Keefe's forearm would be oriented in a vertical direction?
Absolutely not. If you pull up my slide 117, it'll show exactly that it is like perfectly horizontal. When you're standing like this, and this is the tail light, the laceration, when it
Yeah,
comes
but you don't
across here
know
and
that
touches my
that
body,
happened.
it's going to make a horizontal.
It doesn't come across your body. It hits your arm and pushes you out of the way.
Yeah, it hits and you spin. I hate everything.
He did this. Oh, you can see when it happens when I ducked down and kind of folded along the tail light. You're talking about being smacked at 24 miles per hour. Well, I don't know how fast she was going. So she's going 2 miles per hour. How did she break the tail light? I don't know. Well, he was going 8 miles per hour. That makes X amount of force. How did he stay still and the tail light just swiped across his arm? This is the pivotal witness for the Commonwealth. And he's now telling you, being smacked in the arm, you would keep your arm. And when you turn around, it'll perfectly align with the tail light. Hey, my arm is bent. I need lacerations going up this way as well. How are my underarm getting cut in the exact same pattern as my overarm when my arm is bent? I don't know if your arms in America works like our arms do in Europe, but
No.
if I'm standing like this trying to do the old, hey girl, if you get striations in this direction on my upper arm, I will get striations in this direction on my lower arm. You don't get cross patterns going both ways.
Baker, can we make it stop? Also, sir, I need you to take a firm grip of your shoulders, and I need you to take a deep breath and then pull hard on your shoulders because you are suffering from craniorectitis of the 4th degree. I'm surprised you haven't huffed your own farts into extinction. Oh my gosh. You are so smugly. I don't like you.
I hate this guy. I hate this guy.
Me too.
A laceration because the 6,000-pound vehicle is going to push me out of the way. As this pushes me out of the way, it's going to drag and create a horizontal laceration.
No, it
You
won't.
don't
It's
know
push you out
that.
of the
This is
way.
exactly what you'd expect.
You
So
don't
let's
know
talk
what
about the
happened. You don't
forearm,
know
so we may
anything.
communicate.
Shut up.
I'm talking about the lacerations on Mr. O'Keefe's forearm now.
So we're switching from the
Thank
arm
you.
to the forearm.
Correct.
I hate
Wouldn't
you.
those be oriented in a vertical direction?
No. Again, you have the vehicle. If this
How's
is
your
me
forearm
and this is the
positioned,
car,
you idiot?
Pushing across like this. And with your arm
You
bent
don't
like this,
know that.
laceration as it pushes my arm away. It
Yeah,
pushes
the long
like
way.
that.
Okay, I
You
got
just
My
proved
slide
it.
shows this quite clearly.
I hate
So
you.
you
I hate
disagree.
you.
He
You do
proves
not
it.
agree that
It's pushing across like this. And with your arm bent like this, it's going to cause laceration as it pushes my arm away. It pushes
Yes, the
like
long
that.
way.
Okay, I got
My slide shows this quite clearly.
So you
No, you're
disagree.
retarded.
You do not agree that the injuries to Mr. O'Keefe's forearm, under your theory, would be oriented in a vertical. You disagree with that. It's just Just want to get that on the record.
I disagree with that.
Okay. Now, also, do you understand that under your theory of injury here, that there would be injuries caused in two different directions by the same movement of the car? Agree or disagree?
I'm going to say I disagree. You need to give me a little more. You're going to have, again, this is a glancing or a clipping type impact. And so it's going to be it's going to sweep across the arm, which is what causes the horizontal lacerations.
We're talking about a flat surface, right, sir?
Approximately, yes.
It was earlier when you were trying to say there wasn't enough points
Therefore,
to break a bone.
you would have to maintain contact with the arm as the car moves. Am I correct about that?
Maintain contact with the arm? I'm unclear what you mean.
Contact
Well,
with the
I
car,
can tell
you
you
mother.
because I'm not a moron. Your
What I'm
arm
trying
has
to do,
to
sir,
touch
is to
the
get
tail light.
under your theory,
I'm
right? Given the
trying to be
contact
good.
that you've described, what would you expect to be the orientation
upsetting stage.
of the wounds
We're just
to
at
the
this is
upper
ridiculous.
part of the arm and to the lower part of the arm?
Just like it's shown in this photograph.
Okay.
Sure, sure,
You
Dan.
just showed the opposite on when you did
He's
the
an idiot.
demonstration.
He's so cemented in his position to prove the Commonwealth right that he doesn't understand what he's
Isn't it the
arguing
case,
for.
your theory, that the tail light would have to break? And after the break, the arm would have to maintain contact with the arm as the car moves.
So that is what happens in pedestrian contacts. There is a contact duration. For example, you asked me earlier in that calculation you had me
It was a
ran.
glancing blow.
1 seconds. That was the contact duration. So when you have things like this, that's why you have to allow, if you do testing, the body to move, because the car is going to hit the body. It's going to cause
If
it to
you do
move.
testing,
the,
you don't
the body's going to
even
rotate
do
away,
testing.
and the car's going to continue on in that clipping type impact. So the arm is definitely in contact with the rear of the car for some time.
That's what I wanted to get to, is simply that under your theory, the tail light would break,
Look at his blink
and
rate.
also the arm would need to maintain contact with the tail light area as the car moves. Is that your supposition?
So at a point in time, it'll stop contact, but the 6,000-pound vehicle is going to want to continue moving on. It's going to push. It's going to initially contact the arm and then push the arm away as it rotates the body. So yes, it's going to maintain contact until the clipping is over and the vehicle continues on.
So my next question is simply, how long do you believe the arm needs to maintain contact with the taillight after, under your theory, it breaks to produce those types of wounds that you say came from a taillight?
We don't have enough information to determine that.
Right. You don't have enough information to make that determination, do you, sir?
Correct.
And-
But we know because of the laws of physics that
Oh my
it has
God,
to be
shut
some
the
amount of
hell
time.
up.
It doesn't occur instantaneously.
So now when you apply
No
the laws
shit,
of
Sherlock.
physics to the right arm,
Just
that
like
were
bones
applied
are
before
inside the
you
body,
applied
you
the
moron.
experiment. Is that correct? You're now applying the laws of physics to the injury.
Captain
right arm.
Obvious
No.
over
Put that
here.
in your report.
Nope. Always apply the laws of
Elon,
physics. The
send this
paint
man to
experiment, as you're
Mars.
referring to it, was to look at basically the orientation of the
Exercise,
scratches
is what he
that
said.
matched this. So that was an engineering experiment to correlate height, position of the taillight relative to height, orientation of the lacerations on Mr. O'Keefe's arm.
You just said, sir, if I heard you correctly, you, to answer my previous question, applied the laws of physics. That's what you just said, correct?
So the laws of physics cover more than Newton's second law. There's a whole
God, shut
law
up.
of physics. The whole field of physics is a broad subject. So a simple measurement of height is a physical measurement.
Sir, I have your entire report in my hand, right here. Where in the report do you apply the law of physics to the right arm of Mr. O'Keefe? Where?
So in the paint experiment we did, the laws of physics about gravity, orientation,
You didn't do a
things like that,
calculation, you
I didn't
stupid
apply Newton's
MFer. You
second
have a
law as we already
calculator
went
there.
through.
Do it, nerd
But
butt.
again, those simple positioned arm angles, the possible physical arm angles, those are all generally governed by the laws of physics. The laws of physics are very broad.
Sir, I'll ask it this way. Where in your 14-page report do you even mention the laws of physics related to the right arm of Mr. O'Keefe?
So in terms of applying the laws of physics.
I'm not asking applying, just where in the report is it mentioned law of physics relative to the right arm? Can you point me
I
to
don't
where?
would write a report that said, these are the laws of physics. I would say, these are the numbers. But for example, the timing in GPS, how a clock timed, the concept of a second. What does that mean? Those are all concepts of physics. So the timing, the GPS, the mileage, how we calculate the mileage, those are all based on the laws of physics.
I'm talking about.
Oh,
I
and
think it's
thank
you,
you,
Baker.
Uncle Jake Productions, for your super chat. A friend turned me on to this channel. Thanks. You're welcome. I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm trying to work hardish. Well, I'm working hard, but look, I suck at computers. So I'm slowly getting better.
You know what? Uncle Jake's Productions, I think that might be a facetious comment. I think that you're a sadist and you like pain, and that's the only reason that you're here.
Hey,
After
either
watching
way,
this-
it's a super chat. And as a recovering Catholic, I endorse masochism.
This is what he claims happens when you are standing and I took the left arm. That's the only one. This
Just mirror your
is totally cromulent that you have two axes. What looks the most reasonable out of these two scenarios? That every striation follows the same path, or that half of them goes the other way?
Okay, Baker, devil's advocate. Look, I don't have spatial awareness. If you had your arm like this, would that make the patterns?
No, because you need to listen to what the man says. You can't play devil's advocate. His testimony, his arm is in this position. His testimony is based on this position. No devil's advocate, no space mountain aliens. This is his testimony. If you have your arm in this position, the only reasonable explanation is this is how striations would be on your arm.
If you had it like
or
this,
abrasions.
possibly. If you were holding your beer like this, I could see that being a possibility.
Okay, guys, for
Possibly.
the love of all that is Cheetos, Fritos, and the Gulf of America, does anyone know how hard you have to hit the damn tail light to get it to effing explode into gajillion pieces of a Jaws-like, attack?
More than 8 miles per hour.
I hate this so much.
Well, that's his testimony. More than 8 miles per hour.
Injuries to the right arm.
So, yeah, she asked me about my whole report.
Sir, if you could, please, I just need to finish my question. Where in your report do you use any laws of physics in connection with injuries to the right arm of Mr. O'Keefe? Can you point me to a word or a page in your report?
Yes.
Where?
2A. 2A Roman numeral 1. 2A Roman numeral 2. 2A Roman numeral 3. 2A Roman
Shut
numeral
up, you asshole.
4. 2A Roman numeral number 5.
Sir, I followed all of it, but what I'm asking about is where in all of what you just mentioned is the word right arm? I'll take what you just said. Where in 2A and all of those is the word right arm? Where is it?
Oh, sorry, it's in number 3.
So let's go to 3. You state the location and orientation of the laceration on John O'Keefe's right forearm and right arm are consistent with the geometry and orientation of the right tail light of the Reed 2021 Lexus LX 570. Where,
Can you read the next
I'm
sentence?
sorry, is it C PowerPoint slides 102, 120, correct?
Correct.
All right. I want to just start with the report. Did you apply any force analysis to support 3?
So in terms of the force analysis, I did not do an F equal MA analysis, but in terms of, say, the contact pattern, I obviously had to apply some force, even at 2 miles an hour, to do that.
So the answer is, what you cited, number 3, you did not use a force analysis, correct?
So force was applied to my arm in the paint test.
I don't care
I
about
didn't
your
do an
arm.
F equals MA force
This is about
analysis.
John
Thank you.
O'Keefe's
You're welcome.
arm, not yours,
So now
you
let's-
ever-living douchebag.
Go to the horizontal movement we were talking about with regard to the car?
Bev, call
And you
it.
can agree or disagree.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, we'll take that down.
Bev, call.
Do you agree or disagree that given a horizontal movement of the car, vertical lacerations would be an inconsistent injury pattern?
So horizontal motion generally will cause a horizontal laceration. You can get what are called stellate, which are a blunt force, and it causes a splitting of the skin as well. But generally, when the vehicle is clipping or running horizontal across it, it will generally cause horizontal lacerations. But when you have a fractured taillight, you can get pieces going off in other directions. So it's not necessarily going to be perfectly horizontal.
So now it
So my
exploded
question
and
is,
bit him?
not with clipping, you keep inserting clipping into my question. My question is this. If you given a horizontal movement of the car, do you agree that it's more likely than not that vertical lacerations would be an inconsistent injury pattern?
I'm trying to help you, but you got to give me more. So, like, is it a clipping contact? Is it not a clipping contact? Is it a direct in the center of the car impact?
Okay, are the only two variables you need
No,
to answer the question?
but this is a good start.
Okay, so let me do it this way. You can't answer the question on a general basis of whether there's horizontal movement of a car, whether vertical lacerations would be an inconsistent injury pattern. You can't answer that question without more information. Is that your answer?
So generally, again, horizontal motion should cause horizontal lacerations, but again, it depends on what's being hit.
Okay.
So for example, if I have something that bends as a result of the impact, it could bend up and create a vertical laceration.
So you would agree, based upon what you said, that generally horizontal movement of a car would be expected to cause horizontal lacerations.
Generally,
okay. Now, during your blue paint test, the blue paint was featured more predominantly on your upper arm than your forearm. Is that correct?
I think it depends on the tests.
Do you want, we bring up a slide? Will that
I'd
help
love to
you?
bring up a slide.
We're going to be running the thing, so we'll just bring one up and you tell me whether this slide works for you, sir.
No,
Do you want
it
me
is
to tell you the slide I want?
4 o'clock.
If we
Where
could
is
take
Bev?
a shot at it first,
For
and then we may
once.
ask you for it. But I think we've got a slide for you. And what number?
We are way behind. but
111
they're
is
still
on the
going.
screen, sir.
Oh. That explains that. Sorry, baby.
But they're still going.
Oh, God.
Is the blue paint more predominantly on your upper arm than your forearm? Is there more blue paint on your upper arm than your forearm?
Probably. This is the one where I actually walked sideways into the back of the car. The one where the car's moving is probably a little better representation.
Sir, I'm just asking you a question about this slide. If you
Okay.
just focus on this slide here, and if you can't answer it, so be it.
I just answered it.
Is the blue paint
wanna
featured
slap
more
this guy so
predominantly
bad.
on your upper arm than your forearm?
It sort of looked like it. I didn't actually measure the total area of it.
All right. So on direct, you stated that in order for the injuries on Mr. O'Keefe's forearm to have been caused by an impact with a taillight, his arm would have needed to be held outstretched as you did in your demonstration, correct?
You would need some degree of outstretch, yes.
Yes. So isn't that an example of confirmation bias?
No, that's matching the contact pattern to the injuries.
But don't you have to select?
But you chose that these impact injuries were important, and you had to match. This is confirmation bias. I have these injuries. How can I match them to the car? Go F yourself. I'm taking
Among
a bio
other
break so I
choices-
don't stop so much.
This outstretching of the arm, you had to make that selection from among others, correct?
So that was
I'm angrily
matching
lip-glossing.
the physical evidence on his arm to the physical evidence on the car, and then running a test to see if dynamically those matched up. So it's, I didn't have it hit the exhaust pipe, for example, because there was no assertion to hit the exhaust pipe. There was
Oh
no
my
damage to the
God,
exhaust
why
pipe.
are you stuck
so
on the
it was based
tailpipe?
upon the evidence, and the
Stop
testing was
trying
done
to
to test,
tailpipe the
to use your
car, you
vernacular
weirdo.
hypothesis that that's where it came from.
Sir, have I ever asked you anything about a tailpipe in any of my questions today?
Yes.
I've never
Yes, you
asked
have. You asked about the
No,
totality
you
of the rear
haven't,
Lexus,
you
which includes the
stupid
tailpipe.
jackass.
All right. I am not going to be asking any questions that involve the taillight in any fashion. So what I'd like to do is to go back to the
This
question
is this
that I'm
man.
asking, which is, did you consider, as part of the scientific method, in terms of more than one hypothesis, did you consider in your analysis any other orientation of Mr. O'Keefe other than the one you selected for your paint test?
Yes.
And where is that consideration of other hypotheses stated in any report?
It's not. I was just looking at the damage that was up on the sheet metal.
Okay. So Are you saying that you considered other orientations of Mr. O'Keefe relative to the vehicle as part of your analysis?
In terms of where exactly the hand would be, some slight different angles in the forearm, which is from the elbow to the hand. I did consider that, but all the physical testing is done with the hand hitting the approximate center
Oh
of the
my
tail
God,
light.
all we need him to do is a semi-Roman salute, and I have a meme.
No, I think I just included photographs of that damage.
Anything right?
No, I
This
believe
guy
so.
is unbelievable.
Did you consider any other
Also-
motivations of Mr. O'Keefe under your theory relative
His
to the
wife's
fact that-
boyfriend is gonna.
Sure. In the beginning
be
of this,
so
I started about,
embarrassed of
hey,
him.
it's all over. It could be anywhere on the back of it. Then whittled it down based upon the evidence, started eliminating various hypotheses based upon the evidence, and came to this conclusion, eliminating hypotheses based upon the taillight fragments near his body, the lacerations, his height, the height of the taillight in the Lexus. So it was an iterative process.
Did you mention any of these supposed hypotheses in your direct testimony?
No, because I was able to reject them. I didn't come in here to tell these people what didn't happen. I came in here to tell them what I believe happened.
Would you agree, sir, that the
What you
scientific
believe.
method earlier has the scientists
I'm putting a poll in
identified various
chat.
hypotheses? What was the
My chat,
data
obviously.
that supports it, but you show your math as to why you're rejecting hypotheses? As you said, you rejected them. I'm asking for proof that you considered other hypotheses. Do you have anything in writing, any notes at all, any videos, any tests that you did, documentation of other hypotheses other than picking this one? Do you have any documentation of that?
So I did a bunch of tests with the Lexus. I did backing tests. I looked at how the rear system worked to see if it would autonomously brake. I confirmed it did not. So I eliminated that as a hypothesis.
He checked out the rear really well.
I tested
Giggity.
the steering. I tested the transmission, what 1, 2 represented. So I did a whole bunch of tests on the vehicle.
I understand you say you did a bunch of tests on the vehicle. My question is, did you ever take the vehicle and position yourself or anybody else in various locations to determine whether or not your hypotheses could be properly rejected? Do you have any documentation that you did that?
I mean, I did do 1 static and 2 dynamic tests in very similar positions, though. So I did a total of 3 tests relative to the arm.
Where's the documentation for that, sir?
It's in the file. I gave it to you. Some of the slides are some of it.
All right, so Mr. Leslie,
Sure,
I think if we're going to,
I'm going to move on, Your Honor.
So
okay, Mr. Leslie, hold on, we're going to do that for you.
Can I ask, I just have one other area, Your Honor. I can do it in short order if I could,
Okay.
please.
I wasn't finished my
Go ahead, finish your answer.
So slides 109,
Oh, shut the
110,
hell up.
111, actually through, I guess, 121 deal with the testing of the hypothesis.
We'll come back to this at another time, Dr. Welcher. So what I want to do is to finish up on this point. So is it your testimony that no part of what you did in selecting this area, no part of it is confirmation bias? You say there's no confirmation bias at all in what you did. Is that your testimony?
That's certainly my goal. I try and eliminate all confirmational bias. I didn't start out at this particular location. This is where the physical evidence led me to. So I would say the conclusions are supported by the science.
My question is, did you engage in any confirmation, and this will be my last question,
The
did you
answer is no.
engage in any confirmation bias in terms of how you approach the issue that you have testified about in written reports?
The answer is still no.
It's a good
All right,
commitment.
so, okay, thank you. All right, so jurors, we're going to send you home because we still have work to do here. We don't need you waiting there while we do it.
No, I hate him. I hate him so much.
I hate him so much. I think you guys expect a cursy, ranty rage
Those 3 cautions: do not discuss the case
breakdown.
with anyone. Don't do any
'cause-
independent research or investigation into this case. If you happen to see, hear, or read anything about this case, please disregard it and let us know. 4th admonition, please be very careful.
What
I hate
happened?
him so much. They're done for the day, but there's
They're
still
done
some
for the day,
lawyer stuff
but
to
they're
do.
still doing lawyery stuff.
Your social media use. See you tomorrow. Okay, Mr. Alessi, it's your voir dire.
If I have a moment, Your Honor, to switch.
They're
Who is
voir
it voir
diring
diring?
him now?
What?
Yeah, you can do that if there's something new coming up.
Yes.
Can I load up the slides?
Yeah, can you
No,
do that while you're
you
sitting here
stupid-
answering questions? Yes.
No, you may not look at slides, you jackass butt
She said
monkey.
yes. She said yes.
I-
Why did she say
Bev,
yes?
Bev, you are the guessiest person I have ever seen.
Well, it depends on what side.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's nice. She's
Okay.
like a ref for the WNBA. Daggone. Caitlin Clark's
Mr.
getting
Wilkins, with Your Honor's
assaulted
permission,
and
if we
she's
could
just
pull
like,
up the
bouncing.
January 30th, 2025 PowerPoint of Dr. Welcher in slide 36. You see that?
Sorry, I missed this one. $100 on my left nut. Brennan has sandbagged this and is going to walk through the popper analysis on redirect again, and Bev will pop an edible. Could be, never know. Sorry. Mo, I asked ChatGPT how much force would it require to shatter a tail light and have the pieces go flying 10 meters, and it says impact force between 20 and 100,000 Newton meters of force. And ChatGPT said that's just to simply shatter a tail light lens would take between 10 and 50,000 Newton force. Force perspective, a hammer strike can deliver 2,000 to 10,000 Newtons depending on speed and mass. A punch from a trained boxer, 1,500 to 5,000 Newtons. So it's usually a tool-assisted and collision-type force that causes shattering. And Brandon, his wife called me up and said Welcher called me a bad name. I asked, did he call you a sitch? And I said, oh. Did he call you a bunt? No. Okay, so he didn't get it from me then. Thank you all. Sorry, I got a little heated. And,
Okay, wait. Question, because we've just been with physicology. Because this was a dispersed, impact, would it have dispersed the impact of the arm and therefore not shattered the glass? Look, there's a reason
the trick
I
is
flunked
you
out
have
of
to
trigonometry,
reverse
y'all.
you have to reverse the newtons. The amount of force that the arm would have to impact on the tail light would have broken the bones in the arm.
Y'all, I failed all of math in high school. Like, I got by with D's. This is...
Again, the more dispersal, the more newtons it would need, because this is a point attack.
Do you recall that from your January 30th, 2025 PowerPoint?
I thought I had replaced the video on the left-hand side by the time I produced it.
Sir, I got to go through this quickly. That image is a drone image on the left, correct?
Oh, correct.
And you had that in your original report, but you removed it in subsequent reports, correct?
Correct.
Where did you get that drone image from?
It was in the file.
Wasn't it in the CARS report of Trooper Paul?
I believe it was.
So you took that drone image from the CARS report of Trooper Paul, correct?
Correct.
Ooh.
Let's, if we could, Mr. Woke, go to diagram 1. Do we have that electronically of Trooper Paul's report? Do you recognize that as diagram 1 from Trooper Paul's report?
Yes.
So, and that's the diagram that you took that image and you put it in your January 30th, 2025 PowerPoint, correct?
I'm pulling up my version of PowerPoint.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, he should lose. He should lose
Okay,
his
if we
tablet
could take that down, I'm
privilege.
going to go to the next example.
So what we're finding out here is he actually based it on Trooper Paul's report. Trooper Paul had way different finding than this guy did.
We could go to Dr.
Yes.
Welcher.
I'm sorry, actually,
Not
can we
good.
go back to that?
Yes.
Oh.
With Your Honor, why do we?
Well,
I have limited. Go ahead.
so that particular diagram I did not use. If you notice, the diagram I used has different cars and doesn't have all the writing about the position of things on it.
I am going to now, Your Honor, have to take the time to go to Trooper Paul's report. We have a hard copy of Trooper Paul's.
Could you turn the lights on, please?
Yeah, Coach, Your Honor.
Yes.
How much-
Mr. Bennett.
Yes, Mr. Bennett. This is. Yeah, Coach Bennett. You see this first page, do you recognize this as the cover page for the Trooper Paul report that I was referring to?
Show me the signature.
You want to look at the report, so I'm not so sure there is a signature on the report.
Mo, you're absolutely correct. The body would basically act like a cushion, and it would take more force, specifically at least 10,000 more newtons of force if John O'Keefe was standing up to shatter.
Thank you very much, and I apologize for my
Signature
anti-math
mark right here.
thing. I'm
Yeah,
just
Trooper
feeling
Paul.
discombobulated,
16.
and I don't like it.
Now, what I want to do is to go to diagram 1, and if I could, Your Honor, republish what was just up. I'm showing you diagram 1, sir, and I'm asking you is that the image from Trooper Paul's report that you then used to put into your January 30th slide presentation?
No. See all the writing on here, the glass cup, all the dimensions here? Here's my January 30th one. None of that stuff's here. None of this stuff is here.
Isn't it the case that this is crop more and there's a larger picture of the same image or not?
See this tree?
Yes.
See these trees?
Yes.
See all these measurements by the trees?
Yes.
That's right here.
Okay.
Those do not show up on my image.
Let me go to a different method then to do this. You have an image. Can we go, Mr. Wolf, to the January 30th presentation?
Slide 36.
Correct.
Oh, this is what he changed in his report.
Where did you get that image from that's in your PowerPoint presentation on the left?
I think it was from the file. It's a satellite image from the file.
What part of the file, sir?
I actually don't know at this time.
Is it another room
How
14?
close is the image on diagram 1,
It should be.
the drone image, to the image that you can't now recall where you got it from for your slide presentation? Are they similar?
So that one has a whole bunch of measurements and ID on it, but the underlying image is very similar. It's probably the same one.
Right. Yes. Do you know of any other place you could have, let's put the presentation back up on the slide presentation. Do you know of any other location other than Trooper Paul's report that you could have got that drone image from?
No, I'm not sure I got it from the report. I recall getting it from the file.
My question is, do you know of any other source other than Trooper Paul's report that you could have gotten that drone image from?
So this image is not in that report.
It's a simple
Not
yes
much-
or no.
Yes, it is. You asked me anything but the report. That image is not in that report.
Did you get the drone image from any file from the Massachusetts State Police?
Yes.
Okay.
Probably didn't turn it over.
Oh, do you want me to read it? T-Rex Trucking and More, thank you for your super chat. And all of my maths that I had Chat GPT do would be if all of the force was specifically concentrated on the taillight lens, which this guy specifically said it's not. This guy doesn't make sense. I wanted him to be able to explain it in a way that everyone could understand. And this
But he
is
can't
not
because
at
it
least
doesn't
for
make
me.
sense if you use logic, physics, and the real world. That's why it doesn't
yeah.
make sense that he shattered the tail light. And Arca is going to eat this fucker alive.
I hope so, but we were all excited for this cross,
Trooper
and
Paul
it's been painful.
Work on any drone images to your knowledge with respect to 34th area.
I don't know.
But you would agree that the drone images are from the Massachusetts State Police file, correct?
Give me 1 second.
You just said you got it from the file.
Island just gifted 5 Valhalla Witch memberships. Thank you. And
So
welcome.
let me
to
know you had a
Goat
fair
Burgers,
opportunity to
y'all.
answer that question.
Hey, give me a second.
You have fun new emojis. Like Fluffy.
Yes, it came in a file called cars-trp.jopal.
Okay, so it came from, and that's the report of Trooper Paul, correct?
No, these are drone images that are not in the report.
No, I'm saying what you just read. Can you repeat it again, what you just read, where it came from?
I read you a folder
Yes.
that contains a bunch of things.
Read
I'm
the
going to slap you in
folder
your
name.
face. I'm going to slap you in the face when you become like a little bitch and say, no.
Including the report.
Understood.
That image is not in his report.
Can you read the file name again that you just read?
The folder name
Yes.
is cars-trp.jopal.
Okay. And did you get the drone image from that file folder?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now let's go on to the May 26, 2025 PowerPoint that you created. And I'd like to go to slides 25, 26, and 27. Have you discussed with anybody today at all the source of what is depicted up on this slide?
No.
Okay, so let's now go to where did you get you see the larger chart to the left
Agreed.
there in the, looks like mostly a rectangle. Do you see that, sir?
What slide are you on? What slide is that?
25, I believe.
Okay.
Okay, and then if we could click to 26, because it looks like it's the same. If we can go to 26 and 27, looks like it's the same one. You tell me.
Similar,
Similar, okay.
Yeah.
In 27,
correct.
see the same or similar one there. Okay.
These are all from Google Maps.
Well, my question is, may I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
We all do,
Let me ask you this
T-Rex.
so I don't keep going back and forth. Do you have
Yes, thank
access
you.
sir, to the cars report of Trooper Paul on your computer?
Think so? You remember the name of it?
I don't.
You just read it.
So if I could approach, Your Honor?
Yep.
So you see what I'm pointing to right here, which is page 10 of Trooper Paul's cars report. Do you see that?
Is this the same report dated 1/29/2022?
I believe so, sir. Let me just take a peek. This is, you can just compare this to the one I have in my hand. Take it and look for any.
Les is still
identification.
mad. Look at him
Right,
shaking.
we got the same one.
Yeah, mine's broken.
They
He's
fucked
ready to
something
trust
really bad up.
Okay, so
He's ready to.
we have that
jump.
report, and I now am referencing page 10 of that report, and I'm looking at the chart on page 10. Is that chart on page 10 the same or substantially the same as the chart that is up on your slide presentation right now?
So it's not the same. I did not use this data at all, but we both use Google Maps.
Okay, all right. Now let's go to continuing on the same slide. If Mr. Woke, we could go to slides 22 and 23.
Okay, and this will be the last on this, Mr. Lessie. If you want to get to the autopsy photo, we're wrapping this all up at 4:10.
Okay, Your Honor.
Bev, what the hell?
Why are you cutting off his voir dire? Why are you saying
always
this is the
it
last
cut
on
off?
this?
You see
rather
these
than
photos?
This is the last for
Sorry.
the day.
You see the photos that are up on
Oh, I
that?
can't
I
stand
do.
it.
Okay. Do you, in terms of those photos, do you recognize any aspect of those photos?
Yes.
What do you recognize in terms of the person in it?
Oh. You want me to limit it to just these 3 photos?
The, God,
Why is there a cup in the car?
Did he copy
Yeah.
and paste the images
I think that's
from
what they're
Prall's
showing.
report?
I
didn't
don't know
actually
what we're
conduct
seeing,
any of
but
this?
I'm more disturbed that someone did car testing and brought his cup into a crime scene.
And why would you take a picture of the odometer where the odometer is obscured?
Yeah. Well, we might find out if we just listen to him. But hey,
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Any
Well, I'm
photo
an
that would
idiot,
be,
so-
this photo or any photo similar to it. But let's start with just these 3.
If I have to limit it to these 3, I don't know who that is.
Okay, and if you don't limit it to those 3, who would you conclude it is in those photos?
It appears to be Trooper Paul from other photos.
Okay, so you can tell from other photos that this is Trooper Paul in these photos, correct?
I have photos of Trooper Paul in the car. I don't know that someone else switched out. I have no reason to believe this isn't anybody but Trooper Paul.
Would you have any understanding that there's any other trooper that would be doing this type of analysis other than Trooper Paul?
Someone else took the photographs?
No, I'm talking inside the vehicle.
I'm sorry?
Inside the vehicle doing what's depicted here.
Someone's inside the vehicle taking the photograph.
What's your best conclusion as to who that is?
Trooper Paul.
Thank you. Your Honor, that
Stop it.
is,
Okay, so next topic.
yes,
Go right
thank you.
ahead.
And I just need to reload, if you will, with regard to that topic.
Do we know what this is in regard to the voir dire? What prompted it?
something was changed in his report.
Do this fairly quickly.
Okay.
It's all
You can
I
go,
know.
Mr. Woke, to slide 131 of Dr. Welcher's PowerPoint presentation, and it's now 132. I don't believe that's
We
the
haven't
right
heard
one.
why
It's
they're
the-
worrying him.
One before that.
I
Okay.
think you're, yeah, okay. So this is slide 131 from your slide presentation, correct, sir?
Correct.
And if you look to the far right, I'm sorry, Mr. Woke, you go to the other one. Yes, that one, and scroll down so we can see what's in green. For that depiction, that is from Dr. Scorty Bellows' autopsy report, page 3, correct? Is that where you got that from?
It's from the report. Maybe word for it on page 3.
So, but it is from Dr. Scorty Bellows' autopsy report, correct?
Right.
Now, if you could go to, if we could zoom back out.
So he based his conclusion on a report that says that it's inconclusive that the Karen Reed hit him. And then he says, even though I have evidence from the ME who handled the body, I will still say he was killed by the car. So he's using her testimony, which is inconclusive, to say conclusive. That's probably what they want to know why.
And go to the multicolored image in the center, up at the top. Yep. Thank you. If you can go to the very top line, it says autopsy report performed by Irene Scorti-Bello, MD, PhD. If you could scroll back over, date of autopsy, January 31, 2022, and then you see final diagnoses. That is all directly from the autopsy report, is it not, sir?
Yes.
And that is in your slide presentation, correct, sir? This is page 131 of your slide presentation, correct?
Correct.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay, you are all set, Doctor?
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Oh, did you have any questions, Mr. Brennan?
If it'd be helpful to the court, I have a couple quickly.
Okay.
Oh, God, no.
I don't know where we're going.
Neither do I.
Maybe Brennan can show it.
Dr. Welcher, you were shown a photograph of the street of Fairview Road. Did you know that didn't come from Trooper Paul? It came from the CERT report, and Trooper Paul then took it from the CERT report and put it in separately in his presentation. Did you know that?
I had no idea. I just was given it as a folder.
And the photo you were using, it didn't have the markings that Trooper Paul put on his report, did it?
It did not.
When you used that photo, was it because you were borrowing, relying on, or using any of Trooper Paul's reports for your conclusions or any of your decisions or analysis in this case?
I did not use his report at all.
It was simply limited to the use of the photo to show a different demonstrative issue.
Sure,
Correct.
Jan.
And then when you saw diagram 1, again, that was different than what was used in Trooper Paul's report because it had absent in it all the writing. Isn't that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
Did you rely on Trooper Paul's analysis or conclusions in this case for your conclusions and your analysis?
Not at all.
Is that why you went and downloaded the information and looked at the car and did everything individually, separately, and uniquely from Trooper Paul?
I wanted to be independent in my analysis.
Regarding Dr. Scortabello, did you ever consider her conclusions regarding manner or cause of death as a basis for your analysis and conclusions?
Yes.
And when you considered her analysis, did you consider the conclusion of undetermined cause of death? Was that part of your analysis?
Oh, no. I was using like the skull fractures, the description of the injuries.
So you were considering the information in her autopsy report?
Correct.
How about her conclusions? Did you rely on her conclusions to do your studies or any analysis in this case as far as cause of death or manner of death?
Only I thought I said blunt force trauma and hypothermia.
Okay. Regarding her conclusions about whether this was caused by a car accident or not, did you consider that as the basis of your opinion?
No, I wouldn't
He
take
has his
person like
computer
that's
again.
opinion for that.
Did you ever have a conversation with Dr. Scortabello about her expertise limitations?
No, I would want a biomechanical analysis.
Was your opinion regarding the collision in this case, did it have anything to do whatsoever with Dr. Scortabello's conclusions regarding cause of death, whether it was accident, undetermined, or homicide?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, Your Honor.
All right, one question. Can we just wrap it up? I'd like to hear you argue, but we don't have time, so I'm just gonna,
I have
Decision.
two questions, Your
Well,
Honor.
we're starting
You-
early
you
tomorrow,
put
and then
in
they
your
can ask you
slide
then, you fucking
presentation
cunt.
information from the autopsy report of Dr. Scorti-Bello for a reason, correct, sir? And that reason is because you considered the autopsy report as part of your analysis, correct?
So I considered portions, which are the portions I included here for the autopsy report.
And part of those considerations were the final diagnoses. We can put that back up, Mr. Woke. But you recall the slide that you had has the final diagnoses of Dr. Scorti-Bello, and you put that in your slide presentation because you considered that as part of your analysis, else it wouldn't be in there, correct?
So the final diagnosis is in there. There's a line, then it says cause of death, and then manner of death. The things I highlighted are the things I thought were important. So the highlighting on slide 130. So
It's in
the
there.
final diagnosis, again, does not include cause of death. It does not include manner of death. There's that horizontal line demarcating them. The important things that I was looking at are the
So I just took the things I liked and didn't use her conclusion. Smart way to do it.
under or highlighted, which is why I highlighted them.
Exactly. So the ones that you highlighted, you considered are from the autopsy report. That's why you're highlighting them, right, sir? You considered that.
Correct.
Thank you. No
You're welcome.
questions, Your Honor. I
All
appreciate that.
so I'm not gonna let you argue now. I'll hear you very briefly tomorrow before we stop. But Mr. Lessie, how much longer are you going to be tomorrow? Yes.
Baker, go back and look at the recorder. She just did one of the.
Oh, God in heaven.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing way too
I'm
loud.
about halfway through, Your Honor.
Halfway through.
God, kill me.
Tomorrow, if you can get this quicker, I would like to do that, but get it today, that's my best estimation.
So
This is actually the reconstruction.
we're half a day tomorrow.
Oh, that's right.
Half day tomorrow?
Tell the witness to
So
answer
it may
the questions.
be that we have a 20-minute break tomorrow, and we finish up by 1:30 by going straight through. We've got a juror who has an appointment that we told her she'd be able to make. So I'd like to do everything we can so that Dr. Welcher doesn't have to come back or stay
Thank
here
you,
another day.
Fed, saying
So
that
let's
obvious.
just see what we can do, and we will do the same thing for your experts as well.
No, I understand,
Yeah,
Your Honor,
Doctor-
and I respect everything that Your Honor is saying. I must say, Your Honor, to state the obvious, this is a key aspect of the case, and we've got to be able to proceed through to the questions. He covered a
And-
lot on his direct and he properly.
And I'm not asking you to curb it. I'm just hoping that we can do it. So I will ask you tomorrow at a certain time to see whether we're able to do it with the 20-minute break and finish.
Fair enough, Your Honor.
Okay.
I'll give you my answer.
Traveling fools.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All rise for the court, please.
Thank you, Dr. Welcher.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I step down?
Get wrecked, Dr. Welcher.
I'll be honest, it wasn't the firework I was hoping for, because this guy was kind of like my wedding night. A lot of expectation and not much action.
It was a lot like when youngest most feral doesn't want to answer a question. Who wrote on the wall?
Roblers.
I don't know. A robbler. So he came into the house and he took a magic marker and he wrote Griffin. Yeah. That sounds about right.
It happens to be that the robber was a fan of Harry Potter. How you like them apples?
Well, that's what he used to say, robbler. So now that's my favorite word.
It's when she sighs and say, "Mr. Anderson, how long is it gonna be tomorrow?" She should look at him and say, "Hey, Dr. Welcher, I know
Can we
that
answer
you
some
probably have 3 older brothers who put your head in the toilet a lot when you were a kid. If you don't mind, tomorrow, I don't know if you brought them, but you have time to go out to Walmart and buy a pair of big boy pants, and then answer the questions, or I will Bev slap you. I will Bev slap you so hard that your taste buds will feel like it was hit by Alexis going into space. Okay? I'm just trying to make things a little more expedite for the jury. So tomorrow, the first time you start interrupting Dr. Bob Alessi, well, he is a doctor, Juris Doctor, I will give you one warning. The next time, I'm going to force Mrs. Court Reporter's mask over you, filled with cyanide gas, and then I'm going to dismiss the case. Can we agree on this one, Dr. Welcher? And if you don't understand the words I'm saying because you're looking at your calculator right now, I'm going to shove that calculator so far up your behind that your spleen will be able to tell me what 2 + 2 is. But you won't, because I will be cyanide gassing you. Is that a deal?
Allegedly in Minecraft.
Oh my God.
I think we need the airplane, where they lined up with the hysterical woman and everyone got a turn, because I feel like that would heal America.
Yeah, let the jury go up there on the way into the jury box tomorrow. Said, "Hey, I feel really sorry for what you sat through yesterday. This witness, he needs a little correction. So could you all Sean Connery him on the way to the stand?"
Set up the gauntlet on the way to the jury box or to the witness box.
Dankeschön.
Just have
Everybody-
the Simpsons song, Glove Smack, Baby Glove Smack, where he just started glove smacking everyone for a duel.
Have you
And
seen
there'll be
the snake
that-
whacking episode? That's my favorite
Oh,
Simpsons episode.
yeah.
I don't remember
Sometimes
that
I
one. I'll
like
have
to whack him fast, sometimes slow. How do you want me? Well, slow first and then fast, Homer.
It reminds me of that episode of Vikings where they set up the what the hell's the word I just said? The
Vikings
meetings. No. The damn
The word you just said was Vikings.
when you line up and everybody smacks them as they walk the gauntlet. When they punish the guy to a gauntlet, and the one guy's like, "Yeah, there'll be a penalty for anybody that fails to throw anything." Yeah. No, okay. It would have been better if I remember the word gauntlet. Damn it. See what you did, Brennan.
Well, this has been an interesting
But you
day.
know what? People who are willing to tell you the truth, even if it's ugly, those are the people you should be listening to, not people that tell you beautiful lies all the time. So it is what it is, guys. You gotta wake up to that, you know. And the truth of the matter is that this woman most likely, this woman hit her boyfriend. And
That's not how the law works, you
Is
fucking
reasonable
idiot.
doubt, you dum-dum?
I don't know. I don't know if the jury
Most
will
likely
kill the
is
jury
not-
member that just doesn't like the cops. I don't know if a Karen Reed person got on there. I don't know if the defense witnesses might have a great defense witness. I just don't know. But do I think she's guilty? 100%. Do I think she'll be convicted? I'm not 100% sure on that one. I don't know.
Baker, can we
think I
take
really
this
don't
off?
know.
It's hurting my brain.
Thing, but I mean, I don't know. They
Yeah,
said
that's
that
a
there was
voice
a juror
for
that had an appointment. So I mean, I can
silent
believe that. I
movies.
can believe that.
Yeah, I mean, you got to realize these people have lives, and 21 days without working and you know being there and on the courtroom all day is a very trying thing for these.
This is what Lala World feels like. You just watched. I don't know who the B is. I know Twisted Tragedies. I'm a big supporter of her. She's doing really bad because she only made $40 on one show. As creators, I think we can agree making $40 a show with 56 viewers is actually pretty good
That's
YouTube money.
awesome.
But she can't
Oh,
afford
she's talking
33.
shit. She's talking shit.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm
Talking
off.
shit.
Is she calling me fat? Is she calling me fat?
No. It's something to do with Kevin. She's got Kevin's back. Kevin wasn't able to answer a single question. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I didn't allow him to answer a single question, and that fat idiot was just yelling and didn't want to talk about his stupid book. Yeah. Ooh. Helen from
Well-
Holland, have a great night. Get to some sleep. But she's sitting there whining. Do you know how long it took me to make $40? Well, you all have that initial great stream. She doesn't. I don't think she's monetized on YouTube, and she gets $40, which means she doesn't have to pay YouTube tax. And she's whining that she doesn't have money.
Yeah, I don't get that. I mean,
That's-
I appreciate everything, even like subs, because I get it. This economy is terrible. So I appreciate it when people donate. I appreciate when people sub. It's all about having appreciation, not an expectation. That's kind of not.
Well, have you considered she doesn't have money to pay for StreamYard, Mo, and she's really struggling. She wants to keep this rolling.
Doesn't StreamYard have a free version?
Well, she can only stream 20 hours on the free version, so she really needs the money, Mo. She's thinking about starting a merch line because you know how much we make on merch. I think $3 a t-shirt. When I sell one of those t-shirts, I've sold 10 off or something like that.
Yeah, it's just.
And I'm just
again,
thinking,
you have to
Oh,
work
sorry.
for it. Well, you have to work for it.
they owe her money. Come on now. She's streaming,
Okay.
Mo. It's like you don't have the appreciation. That welfare queen is sitting on her couch streaming, calling everyone else stupid. And Valhalla, don't engage with chat. Look at this. It's like
He's
youngest
smiling.
most
I don't
feral
know.
when he
Let
was.
him do it.
Listen. When stupid people say stupid things, it makes me happy in a sadistic kind of way. When somebody
I'm
makes
glad
the
to see you
comment that you
smiling.
don't understand the difference between doubt and reasonable doubt in a criminal case, I'm curious what your definition of reasonable doubt is then.
And Money G, no one ever expects anyone to pay anything on at least
No.
the friends we have's channels, because everyone knows, hey, $1 for somebody could be the same as $100 for someone else. We all have ups and downs in our life, and you're supporting us just by viewing. And if you have social media, your friends say, do you know that there's a Tennessean goat herder who is actually quite funny, who streams this case? And they say, goat herder? Yeah. And then you show them your channel, and his beautiful smile will win them over, and he get another sub. That's talk nice about us out there. Thank you so much. Advertising is a big part of you being a YouTuber as well.
Yes.
He's on Twisted Tragedies, who is a horrible person.
That smile reminds me of Youngest Most Feral when he's right about to do something very naughty.
Zach, you're not a subscriber or a member of the channel. So I'm not charging you to be here. I do love you regardless, and it wouldn't be fun without all of you. And I know we are the smallest show on Twisted Tragedies clearly is smaller, but
bless her heart.
Nah, I don't think even the Lord could fix that problem. But we are very appreciative that even though we have a different style than many other people's, and some people might in my comments today tell me that weird lady who kept talking about the tail light. Hey, we got there in the end, and you got to see me scream. You got to see Mo drink and then get even more drinkiness because she was thinking. But it just doesn't make sense. Why does it make sense to me, who is a stay-at-home mom, but this guy who went to school claims it makes sense? That's because it didn't make sense. And we really love each and every one of you with your stupid comments. Hey, Zach. Your funny comments. Hey, Brandon. Your great questions. There's so many of them.
And you guys think of things that we don't. It's really cool to see you guys, see the different perspectives and get that different stuff. So I appreciate that as well, because you guys have helped me understand things. Like I said, I don't even know where I am on the plot point with all this information, but you guys have been making it a lot easier.
No, it's not Krusty he's watching. He's watching Twisted Tragedies. That's another horrible welfare queen. You haven't been blocked yet?
All right. I'm done.
But no.
I apologize.
We enjoy all of you because you support us in all of the weird stuff we're doing. If I'm making dating videos, Valhalla is taking his coach for a walk, or Mo is doing her morning show. You all show up, and that's all you want as a YouTuber. All of this, hey, pay me. No, that's not what it's about. We like having an audience, and we like having a very engaging audience. And it doesn't matter that we are not riding with... I just had 51,000 people like Emily D. Baker.
Do you think if I got purple in my hair, it would help?
Of course. It's because you're a redhead. Yeah. You are actually killing our channels with the redhead.
Well, I'll come in a blonde wig tomorrow. Fine. I will wear my blonde Lori Vallow wig tomorrow.
No, you are not blocked. There was another person who had problems with gifting the other day. Thank you, and so glad to hear that, Krista. I hope you're doing great. And I didn't mention it when you sent the corner kisses the other day because you said private. But I hope everything is doing A-okay.
Yeah, get some rest and, accept help.
And again, 51,000, you can't chat. Well, we wouldn't mind have 51,000 people watching us, but hey, that's we are pursuing 51,000 subscribers.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, subscribers.
We are pursuing Emily D. Baker's numbers.
I didn't even know how to bear my life, but I know that I enjoy you so much. Thank you for that.
Oh, Well,
Oh,
thank you, and I hope things get better.
Yeah. We are here to entertain you, make you smile, make you
Absolutely.
yell, and hopefully give you a community where people like to hang out and talk to each other. I like these triple streams where a lot of people get to see each other because even though we have a big overlap, we also have some unique viewers, and all of you are just like snowflakes, unique.
Not snow again.
And like kittens in a barrel. We're about to end this.
Hey guys, I'm Mo. I do a morning show called Mornings with Mo at 8 a.m. every morning. We do about an hour, 45 minutes. It will be shorter tomorrow because court will be the normal time, but it's headlined true crime and all the absurd that the internet does. And then I do newsy nuggets throughout the day, so videos of articles that are a bit longer that didn't quite fit with Mornings with Mo. So check those out. And then I'm here, you guys. So thanks for watching.
I have goats. Come check me out.
And Kelly D, I will be in Dollywood on Father's Day, which is June 5th, at least in Denmark. So June 5th, Father's Day, I will be in Dollywood. I think meetup is at 11 a.m. at the bakery. And if you can't make it that day, on Wednesday the 4th, there will be an evening meetup at some place to be determined. And on Friday, there will be a live taping of... Valhalla, you're taking too much enjoyment of these idiots. A live taping of Friday Night Live. If you're following the expert, he has all the things. I have been in this case too much, so I just don't... When I'm going to land in America's, Valhalla is going to take me for Baconator and a Yingling, and then I can kind of figure out what my plans are for the rest of the week. Oh, Chris, that's been 5 months. That's
Nice.
half a baby. Thank you
Nice.
for being here for 5 months.
It's more than half a baby. That's... Look, it's the only thing I'm an expertologist in.
How much force does it take to make a baby, Mo? Well, sometimes a lot, and sometimes you do it too
Not that
soon.
much. Not that much.
Usually an alcohol, percentage in a drink over 7%.
Oh, we have... Where I'm living, I'm kind of living in the... Not the posh part of my island, but we're the second biggest city, and we are a little more cultivated. We have a theater and a movie theater. Then you have the opposite side of the island. That's kind of like going to where
Bougie.
Shizzy lives. And there we had a show called Me and My Mom, where all of these girls and their mom were retarded. And there's these two ladies from our island, and they have a very imagine being deep in a holler in Alabama somewhere. That type of accent. And these two ladies, they can't say good morning to each other without just blowing up at each other. At some point, one of them is saying, "That's not how you make gravy. How would you know? You never made gravy in your life." "No, but I watched Grandma make it." "You don't know any." And they're just screaming, and in that accent, Hercules,
I know it's
Hercules.
it's like
Amazing.
when you watch Honey Boo Boo and you're like, this is terrible. This is terrible. I shouldn't watch this. I shouldn't encourage it. But you keep watching the sketty because train wreck.
I just love that.
Are you timed out, Valhalla? I feel like the
Not
need to
yet.
put you in a corner and make you stand there for every minute for your age. That face.
Well, no one introduced me to an Alabama holler, but because I watched Justified, I know what a holler is. I'm kind
We got
of a
hollers.
learned man, if you didn't know.
We got hollers.
We do here too. I live in a holler, to be honest.
Which is a dead-end road in mountain or hilly country. One road in, one road out kind of place where people live, and if they see their neighbors, they say, You better get up my lawn or I'm going to pull out the pew-pew. Who's that driving down that road? Oh, you know, it's Ben down the road. He ain't been down this road 5 years. He's up to no good. I remember 20 years ago, his old grandpappy borrowed a egg from me, and I haven't got it back. I hate this guy. Mo can confirm this is exactly what happens in Hollows.
Exactly.
there's a lot
Also
of
fights
hollers in
over
Indiana.
Tupperware.
And Justify has one of the greatest soundtracks
Ooh, I'll
of
have to
any
check it out.
series. You haven't watched Justified? Oh, you'll love Timothy Oliphant.
To be fair, I've been watching a lot of Mayday plane crash stuff. I don't know why, but it comforts me because they always find the problem and fix it. The NTSB is the only governmental agency I will keep if I, become queen.
I will fix the EBT system so poor little Twisted Tragedies doesn't have to be on EBT cards while she has a blooming YouTube career. Now with Valhalla as a mod on her channel as well. I'll bet you he before the day is over, he has gotten a wrench on her channel.
Working on it.
Just say, hey, I used to bounce at strip clubs. Oh, I used to work at a strip club. You did? Oh. Well, I don't know if it's true. I've just heard rumors that she's pretty good on the polls. I put a poll on X, and you can go check that one out. This is what you call a transition, just like Lefty did when he finally had the courage to do it.
Yes, I did examine his lower extremities. That is protocol in any case of suspected impact with a motor vehicle. So I did examine his legs and I did not see any evidence of an impact site.
Just pin it.